show. Again, thank you to everybody who has been here and supporting this. We greatly appreciate it. We have the phenomenal Jeri Maynard
Hi.
here. Unfortunately, she brought back Michael Watson, the bacon eater. And they have an amazing panel they're going to be doing for us. Mike, you want to tell everybody what your panel is?
Our panel is pop culture diversity. Are we doing it right? Are we doing it wrong? Or who gives a dang?
Thank you for making it dang. I appreciate that. So, Jesse, before they get started, you got anything to say?
No, just I want to express my gratitude for everybody putting this on. It's no secret I wasn't in a great place having to cancel the show, and seeing this everybody put together, come together to help this off the ground has been fulfilling. So thank you again.
No problem.
It's an honor.
All right, with that, Jesse and I are going to bounce. I'll be here if you need me. I'll be posting up on the screen any comments, any questions, or anything that's going to be said. And we're going to let you guys have at it, have fun, and I'll be back right before it's time to end.
All right. What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm very excited to be on here with one of my favorite people.
Back at you.
So cool thing about this lady right here, she is writing an awesome book for Freestyle Comics called The Wolf. And it's great that she's on this panel because she got that position over a couple different writers because of a couple panels she specifically wrote with Wolf that were very touching to me, and it involved no action or anything like that. It was just a very intimate moment between Wolf and her nephew. And I thought it was great, and she won me over. And Jeri and I have had many conversations over, writing and, how to get the best out of characters and stuff like that. So I'm very happy to be on the panel with her and love her work.
I was thrilled to be asked. It's Wolf is a character that's very dear to me. I'm hoping maybe you will show a sneak peek of her. Maybe can we convince you to do that? Maybe.
Yeah. Let me see what I can pull up.
Nobody I know has seen it, but me and you and a few, staff members. But I was excited when you took my first, whatever we want to call that little synopsis, and then working through the process. And Wolf is a different character. She's powerful.
Yes,
and
she is.
She has a cool retro bike and a cool retro gun, and she's got some other really powerful gadgets. So she's not your typical wimpy superhero person. And she is her own person. She stands on what she believes, and she isn't going to take nonsense from anybody, including those that employ her at times. So,
no, she is not. She's a very hard-nosed character, and bringing that up or whatnot. But so this panel is all about diversity. So we know that we as indie creators, whether you're using indie IE or indie with the Y, we have been doing it for a very long time, probably since we have been making comic books, as that is a part of our life. So it doesn't seem like a requisite that we have to do, but it feels like that there are many opinions about how the mainstream comic book industry, pop culture, movie scene, TV, cartoons, anime should handle diversity. And I think the overall status is that people don't like it for the most part. And I'm rather blown away by that, Jeri. Not that the fact that people have different opinions about it, but that the opinions are so livid against it. And I probably think of and look at this stuff differently. But let's start it off with Jeri. What do you think of the overall status of how diversity is done in our geek culture right now?
I think it's limited. Mm-hmm. And there's a real issue when you limit the voices of the stories that are being told. The big thing is that those characters that have a bit of diversity carry that entire culture on their back. So they now represent way more than what we really want represented. Whereas if you have the larger the diverse population of characters you have, the bigger your world, the broader it is, the more intense it can be. And, you know, I think there's a certain value in having all of those stories being told. We're much poorer without them.
Awesome. Absolutely. Someone watched Victor's video. Well, it's not that we're preaching. Here's the thing. So my favorite thing that I hate to hear. What's up, Scott? What's up, John? My favorite thing that I hate to hear when people say, or when a character is gender swapped or race swapped, they're like, just make new characters. And like, it's the go-to excuse. And Jeri can agree or disagree with me in regards to this. It's not as easy as you all think just to make a new character and get it out there to the public. Because number one, we will destroy it without giving it a chance in most situations or whatnot. But there is a ton of money that has to go behind making a new character when Marvel, DC, and DC have these characters that are 75, 80 years old, already invested, already proven successes. I.e., my favorite example to bring up, Jeri, is a character named Mosaic. Mosaic is a brand new character. Well, not that new anymore, but he was a new character who had all the promotion, had the creative team, exactly what everybody or what most people were demanding. A new character. He was a person of color, created by people of color, under Marvel Comics, with a terribly ridiculous promotional campaign. If you were reading Marvel Comics at the time that Mosaic was coming out, there was no way that you did not know Mosaic was coming out. This comic book had a top tier artist, and I pronounce his name wrong every time, and I'm sorry for it. Kari Randolph, and he's fantastic. And so this book comes out, and it sold in its opening month, Jeri, the #1 issue of this book that was properly promoted under Marvel Comics with a creative team of top tier talent of people of color about a person of color as the main character in their first solo book. How many copies of that book do you think it sold its first month?
Oh, I don't know, because I know people vote with their money.
People do vote with their money. This book sold 38,000 copies its first month. The #1 issue. I would kill to sell 38,000 copies of a book in 1 month. I'm looking at this. All right, I'm looking at the little chart. I'm like, that's a good outing. That's a good outing for a #1 issue, right? But then I'm also thinking like, but our community really, really, really were asking for these type of books. So I think we should have sold more copies of it, at the very least, to check it out. Now, I go further up the list. To see
hi, Scott.
To see
Hi, Jeremy.
what the #1 and #2 books were. And I say the #1 and #2 books specifically because I was just blown away by what the top 2 selling books was the same month that Mosaic came out. The #2 book sold 343,000 copies that month. #2, 343,000 copies. And that book was a legacy book called Champions. Now, Jeri, why do you think that's funny? Because I think that's hilarious.
Now, you're way out of my field, so you're going to have to educate me.
That's funny because Champions is a legacy book. A legacy book being characters who have taken the mantle of previous superheroes. Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, Vision's daughter, Amadeus Cho as Hulk, the new Nova, who was his son, Cyclops, younger Cyclops. All these characters are legacy characters who have either been de-aged, gender swapped, or race swapped. The #2 selling book of the month. And we as a public apparently are saying that's not what we want. But as you just said, Jeri, we vote with our money.
Well, the other thing is it takes a while for a new character to get established. And I don't think, even if you've got all that campaign, that we tend to give it enough time to develop a readership, to develop a love of. Those of us in the indie world are much more used to being able to have the time to do that. But in, the big comic book world, they're always looking at the bottom line and what it costs.
Every single time, which is another point, which I'm glad you bring up, of why it's not that easy just to release a new character. Now, before Mosaic came out, Jeri, Mosaic was featured in all the books. He was featured in the big summer crossover, and he was the catalyst for them winning, for them defeating. He was a key character in this prior to his #1 issue or whatnot. Now, here's the thing, Jeri. The #1 comic book that month, and yes, John, Champions is crazy diverse. The #1 comic that month that sold over 500,000 copies. I'm not even going to ask you to guess because you will never guess, because I would have never guessed this. It was the sequel in comic book form to Big Trouble in Little China.
No.
Yes, Jeri. The #1 selling book the same month that Mosaic #1 came out was Big Trouble in Little China #1, the sequel. And that is the most stereotypical movie that has come out ever. Well, one of them. You know what I'm saying? That sticks to certain roles and stereotypes in that film. And that's the #1 book. So, wow.
But don't you think that that's part of the issue? Is if you're sticking to stereotypes and you're not developing a character who is diverse or reflects his or her character and background, and that it's such a shallow thing that people don't really get it. They don't, it's. Are you frozen?
No. I'm listening.
Okay, you're just listening. Okay.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to get finished. I'm trying to take it in.
Okay. When you do that, and it's like a shortcut to people's hearts.
Okay. I love that phrase. I've never would have said something like that. I think that's great. I think that is a shortcut to people's heart. I think it's a quick run, as you're saying. Now, I bring up those numbers, and I like to bring that up as one of my favorite stories to talk about in regards to this discussion, because money, these companies are out here to make money. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're doing this for all the right reasons. No, they're trying to increase their audience. They're trying to keep their audience, and they're trying to grow their audience. Every generation, things change. Things are told in different mediums and told in different formats based off of kind of that community that is buying it or consuming it. Now, the other ring around that I want to talk about is the live action movies that are being remade by Disney. Why not? Why isn't Disney just making new movies? New animations and stuff like that. Why are they bringing back these old stories in a different format? Because our current generation of children eat that crap up. That's their medium, live action CGI, and that's a new presentation. And yes, an easy check that they can cash to keep their businesses going.
Yes.
The only way that I could say that you're going to see a clear and present difference in it is that you have to, as Jeri's saying, vote with your dollars. Trust me, if you are spending your money elsewhere, they're going to start looking. If a certain dollar amount is starting to be lost from their revenue, they're going to check to see where that money's going and why that money is not going to them. So I personally don't think there's anything wrong with the way that they're doing diversity for this reason, for this caveat. It is opening the door to more diversity. I think that there's different levels of it.
I think you're right. I am, and you probably know this, I am a really huge Asian fan of Asian media.
Okay.
And it really annoys me that some of our very, very best Asian talent has to go to Asia to become famous. There's not a place for them in our culture with their skill level. So they go to Asia, they become famous, and occasionally one or two of them will bounce back. Doesn't happen often. Mm-hmm. So when they are, now casting a movie that calls for a major Asian actor, and they hire somebody who isn't, it really ticks me off, you know. And then I do vote with my wallet, and I just boycott it completely, because I think it's insane that the reach is so limited.
I absolutely agree with you. I'm not saying that it's perfect. I think roles should go to the appropriate person that tells that story the best, that displays that story, that has the context to be relatable to that story. So I guess to expand a little bit more on what I'm saying is that while a lot of people may not like how it's being done or like these stories that are coming from it, I think those stories tell them, the industry, that, okay, this didn't work, but they're still at our doors for this type of thing. So how do we make it better? I obviously can't just chuck this out carelessly and make that an immediate cash grab. Now we have to put value in it. An example of, hey, what's up, Thomas? An example of value, two of them right off the bat. Miles Morales, Kamala Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible characters. I immediately thought Miles Morales was a quick cash grab. I was so upset that they were killing Peter Parker in the Ultimate Universe. I thought it was a waste of time. And the fact that they announced it cheapened it even more for me. But I got those 6 issues of Peter Parker's death. Some of the best dang writing for Peter Parker that I've seen. I got teared up and emotional. Followed by the funeral for Peter Parker. Incredible. In the I forgot what the name of the church was in New York, but it was like the really, really huge, big, fancy church in the center of New York City. Everybody came out. Iron Man, Captain America, all the heroes, the whole dang city came out for Peter Parker. And then you find out that in Peter Parker's final battle, Miles Morales was in the crowd while Peter Parker was fighting, but he didn't help. So they flipped the script and made Peter Parker Miles Morales' Uncle Ben. I never saw that coming. And Miles Morales has had these incredible stories that have completely become his own. Kamala Khan has opened me up to a whole new culture that I knew nothing about, that I just knew from the outside looking in. Go ahead, Jeri.
That's exactly why it really matters who is on the page, and what they look like. Like if you have a female superhero and she's kind of a weak one and she doesn't have anything, you know, she has like the Mother Earth powers, or she is, you know, not accessible to our girls, our younger girls, because they can't relate to her, then we're losing a voice there that we need. You know, I want my girls to have people in their books that are reflective of their world. You know, for me, the telling situation was, we were talking about Wolf, and we were talking about the foster home for her nephew, and I automatically wrote her as poor, because from my experiences, all the foster homes I've known have been poor. And you challenged that. You were like, well, why is the foster home poor? I was like, oh, they don't have to be. See, so that sort of challenging of what goes on a page makes a huge difference in the readership. All of a sudden it reflects them, their stories, their experiences, even if they come from a totally different culture, because you can get them. It's relatable and it's real.
Exactly. I think you add a lot of subtle context to Wolf. Like, I don't want Wolf to, at the beginning of the arc or at the beginning of her character development, to be a very emotional person, to show her feelings. I want her to be tough and hard. But like in the scenes with her nephew, it's a completely different character. And you absolutely captured that aspect, because there are people that go through things that harden them and toughen them up. But they're, in most situations, I can't say every single situation, but in most situations, there's that one person that gets through our armor, that has that space for us to be different, to be more open with them. And your writing in that scene, in that moment, captured that. And I completely enjoy those little caveats. Like, now I'm not saying that anybody can write any character, especially they can write those characters with the proper amount of research. I know I've caught crap because I specifically went on my social media saying I'm looking for a female writer, and I do that for a specific reason. Number one, I have a female character. I think a female should be able to write this character's voice because guess what? A female knows about the little nuances of being a female because they have lived being a female their entire dang life. And I just think there's a little subtlety to that that adds to the writing. But I also feel like women don't get enough shine in the comic book industry, and we need to have more of that. I also have 3 daughters who I want them to be able to read stories written by women. So it's not that I'm saying a man can't write this stuff or whatnot, but a woman has a better voice at times for some of these things, especially when they're not getting the opportunity to shine as much as a male is. I don't know if
No,
people
that makes
disagree with me.
I mean, that makes perfect sense, and that's one of the reasons why I really love the indie comic world. And I noticed that Jay's on. Hi, Jay, and Scott. I am totally about Maggie Cheung too, and I think Mike would dig it. And for me, when I choose what I want my grandgirls to read, I want them to be involved in all sorts of cultures, all sorts of stories, where what they see is the similarities.
Mm-hmm.
We are similar because of this. There might be differences because of culture, but they're not as major as the fact that, oh, look, this is where this person is. You know, she likes ice cream. I like ice cream. On a 7-year-old level, that's where my noni is. And your girls are the same way.
Yeah. So, like, even to the extent of Vigilance. Vigilance is one of our top selling comic books, and I created that character because I specifically wanted a strong, powerful female character that was not dependent upon a man coming in to help, assist, or save the day. Our cover for number 1 sold off the racks because it was not an over sexualized cover of a female superhero. She was just in her costume. Her costume was very not plain Jane, but it is a normal superhero costume that you would think that you would wear going into battle or whatnot. And it's just a powerful image of her. Trying to be very considerate to that thing. And for the first 3 issues, we had a guy write in the first 3 issues. We had a guy writing those first 3 issues. It was perfectly fine. Like I said, anyone can write any story with enough reference. But going into the 4th issue, we're taking Vigilance onto her development of her character now. And there are, again, things I want to be put in there that I just don't know about. So I sought out a female writer. And we got Stephanie Maynard on there to write Vigilance. And she killed it. Absolutely killed it. There's just little things that I, as a guy, don't think about. So, Emerald Quest, me and my friend James, we designed the hair for the females in there. I just happened to get a female artist on the 2nd issue, and she texted me and said, "Hey, Mike, can I touch up this hair?" I was like, "What's wrong with the hair?" Just a little. Let me play around with the hair. I was like, "All right, cool, go ahead." There was just little things that she did. She updated and made the hair that just was more believable, that looked better, that I wasn't thinking about as an artist because I get a haircut, every 4 weeks or whatnot. My hair stays low. I don't think about the flowing of the hair or a bob or the volume or any of that with it. I just try to draw some hair to make it look cool versus what it actually should be or exist on that type of person.
Well, one of the things that Jay and I first talked about with his comic Mess is that he wanted to design characters that his girls could cosplay in a safe situation.
Mm-hmm.
For me, that was a real critical piece because, my grands love and own all of Mess. They think it's cool that I know him. I get Grandma Brownie points for that. And if they want to cosplay that character, then there's nobody going around going, well, I'm not sure that's a safe character for you to play in public,
Mm-hmm.
which is a concern.
There should be a variety of these characters, and
Yes.
that kind of brings me back around to what I'm saying, or what I was saying earlier, that there has to be some kind of, like, I guess, hit the hammer on the nail, or hit the hammer with the nail type of diversity in these mediums, because for some people you need that obvious thing that is specifically saying the diversity. For some people you need that because that's the only way they can understand that. Versus, let's go Enter the Spider-Verse. Now, I've always thought that people being able to see themselves on the screen is important. I didn't really realize how important until I saw Enter the Spider-Verse. And the scene where Miles Morales is running through his house, singing, but not knowing the words and humming the words, but then talking to his mom and dad, talking to his mom in Spanish, and then, dipping in and get the food, running around trying to get his stuff together, going outside, dapping up his friends, shaking, saying what's up. The way that he moved, the way that he talked, the way that he acted, I felt that because that's how I was in high school. That's how I said what's up to my friends. That's how I shook hands with my friends in school. That's how I moved. But that wasn't, I believe the phrase is hit you in the face. It wasn't blatant. It wasn't obvious. It just was. And
it was normal.
Yes.
And that's what I want. I don't want characters that are, tortured necessarily for just to be tortured, or they're just to be, or, so often people of color are represented at in awful situations. I just want normal. This is a normal family. This is a normal person. This, I don't know.
No, you're right. That's what I think we're getting to. That's where, if we're not getting to it, we're going to be there with that type of thing. But there's so many different types of viewers. There's so many different types of consumers. We all need different levels of, hey, here's diversity. Another good example is Shazam. And I didn't even catch it to the very end of Shazam that family was so diverse. I didn't even think about it because it just was there. It was the norm, as in that's the shape and look of our world right now. And then when I looked at it and sat back, I was like, oh my God, look at how diverse this film is with all these different characters. And there weren't any alarms. There weren't any flags. There weren't people saying, hey, diversity. Hey, diversity. Hey, look at all this diversity we got in this house. But for certain people that are still trying to comprehend and understand that, they need those alarms. They need those flags because they have to know what it is to even see why it should exist.
Yeah.
Scott says, Mike, Into the Spider-Verse was so good. They got so much right about Miles. It made him relatable to kids and even adults. You're making me want to watch it again. It's a great film. It's great. Go ahead, Jeri.
I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to show you my newest book. Okay. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Octavia and the Bug Problem.
All right.
See it? I don't know where to put her.
Right there.
So Octavia is a normal child. She's very curious. She's into things. And she has conversations with her family, eating at the dinner table, or talking to her mom when her mom is giving her baby sister a bath, or being talked to by her dad about a difficult topic, even though, and you can see in this picture, they look really happy, but Octavia screwed up in school that day. So it's a very loving family situation where the situations are totally relatable to any child. I mean, if you don't have that situation, then you may, it makes you long for it. So that's a different sort of situation. But that's my goal for my characters.
Scott says, congratulations on your children's book.
Thank you.
I co-sign that.
The artist on this is Corey Woods. He's out of Detroit. He did a phenomenal job. So, yeah.
Yeah. And Scott brings up another point: the inclusion that the family, all the kids were adopted, and that was great.
Yeah.
It didn't, like I said, like so kind of like to chime on what you said earlier, Jerry, is like, well, this is a poor foster home. Well, why is it a poor foster home? Does it have to be a poor foster home? Like, you normally get those stories about adoption being so sad and terrible and all that thing, but I didn't feel like that. I didn't get that from that story. This was a good adoption situation. Shazam's character actually coming in there, the guy, the main kid coming in there, was our typical kid who like hates adoption, but it's like, no, dude, this is a good family. Like, this is actually a really good situation for you or whatnot. Um,
And the thing about that one was that it was so realistic about the emotions of going into a new family, the feeling of not belonging, not being wanted, and the perspective of each character was different. Like the parents were really worried about whether or not he would accept them. We don't generally see that. We usually see, oh, this poor little orphan, he got adopted. He's, So the twist on that made it so real.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely agree with you. And like, again, that's why I keep saying, like, those stories are going to come with the ones that apparently we don't like. For example, I know a lot of people criticize the Mighty Thor, and I finally sat down and read that, and I was like, what's wrong with this story? This is actually like a really good story, and I like what they're doing with the Mighty Thor. I can get behind this. Um, I don't know if it's because people are paying money for these things, so it makes them extra critical for it or whatnot. I realized I hated and the reason I say that is because I hated what is it, the Superior Spider-Man story arc where Doc Ock takes over Peter Parker's body. I thought it was dumb, trash, didn't want to give it a chance. And through a friend, I got to get a hold of the whole arc and read it, and I was like, oh wow, I really judged this hard, and I knew nothing about it, and it was good. It was a well written and good story. And so I don't know if that dollar amount, adding that dollar value on it, really changes your perspective on how you judge things or whatnot. But I thought Mighty Thor was good. I definitely love Miles and Kamala Khan. I think they're doing great things with those characters. And I know it can be very annoying, race swapping and gender swapping characters and things like that. But to the same light and from another perspective or something like that, is that they're trying to get these subjects into the mainstream in some way and form. Albeit it's not the greatest thing that they're doing or how they're executing it, but just as I think when you get good stuff, you're going to have bad stuff before it. So even when they do these things, somebody else is looking and saying, I can do that better. Or it doesn't sell the way they need it to, and they say, what can we do to make this better? A new book that I'm reading that, again, I apologize if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, Kari Randolph is drawing, is called Excellence. Now, he was on Mosaic, and I say this because the difference between what I'm assuming to be to work for Marvel versus owning your own book at Image Comics and doing it with your own creative team. Excellence is excellent. I'm 10 pages into that book, and we get to a haircut scene where our main character is getting his haircut by his grandmother. I immediately fell in love with the book from that scene. It was just a 3-page thing. She's talking to him, lining up his head, giving him a haircut. And then he goes outside and his dude sees and he's like, they was not messing around with that lineup. Like, just the and I'm not getting the quote right or whatnot, but that thing, I was able to relate to that. It felt real. It felt genuine versus a product that was just put out there. Now I'm proving Jerry's point with that story. But on a side note, if that previous product of Mosaic wasn't put out there, I don't think we get excellent. I don't think we get a book like Excellence. Again, I think there's levels to this, and there's a displacement that needs to be put out there, and that dollar amount plays a key part. These characters have hundreds of millions of dollars put into them over 80 years. The introduction of a new character to spend the money to make that character get out there, get in people's faces, and be visually seen to be accepted. That's a lot of money to pay for. And if that audience does not accept that character.
That's true. That's absolutely true. And it reminds me a little bit of Pop Mahan. Do you all know Pop Mahan? Or is he just only me? I don't know.
That's a new name for me.
Yeah, he draws, I think he's at Marvel right now. He's done both Marvel and DC. He's done a variety of things. But one of the things that he did in between Marvel and DC was he did his own manga. And it was picked up by Tokyo Pop. He had a three volume contract, and volume 1 came out, and then they didn't like volume 2. And part of the reason was because, he's a phenomenal artist, and his storytelling wasn't up to what they wanted. Like, he had an editor that hated his storytelling. Was it that bad? I don't think it was. I think sometimes it's just an editorial thing. So he brought me on to work with it. And it's the first time I had really worked with an artist to do anything, which was a great experience. But we talked through that. And the whole thing was how to make this character become real. How to take him from Pop's mind and Pop's art and give him something that people would relate to, because that relatability piece was, I think, what the agent was the editor was objecting to. I don't know. So, we wrote it, he illustrated it, and then Tokyo Pop canceled all of their English only language. That whole department went under. So the book 2 and 3 have never been produced. And of course, Tokyo Pop owns them, so you'll never see them. But
sucks.
Yeah, it does suck. But it was a great learning experience. But when working with Pop, what I realized right away was that he has the story in his head. And he's used to telling it in art. So if I could get out of the way, it kind of is the same way with you and I work, Mike. It's like, you've got that story in your head. You know what it looks like on that page. So if I can tap into that resource, then the character is going to be so much richer.
See, I think you have the story. I just have an outline. Like, I have a direction of where I want the characters to go, just because we have different books connecting to those characters. Like, we're doing a big crossover. Yeah. So there's certain places I want the characters to be at mentally and, physically. But I think that story comes from you. Like, I think I try to do as best as I can to describe those characters and where they're at and what should happen. You actually handled the situation very well. You did walk into a situation where we had a specific setup because it was a tie-in from a previous issue, and you knocked it out the park, which is why I can't wait to get that issue out, because it needs to be lettered. The colors are all done. It just needs to be lettered now. But you stepped into there. Yeah. You stepped in there, you knocked it out, and then you got on to your story part, to the part that I feel like is the heart of Jeri, what Jeri put into there. And I think you handled it very well, or whatnot.
Yeah, you gave me a lot of freedom. So I took her on my favorite road trip.
Yes,
because I had freedom there for story, and I needed to get her to a certain place. So I took her to my favorite place for, a phenomenal battle that every time I go there, I think there should be a battle here. It's like, if we do 3 and 4, I'm taking her to Hawaii. So,
Oh, okay.
And I know where, I have the final battle scene all lined up for that, but we have to get 1 and 2 out, and then we can talk about 3 and 4.
Yep. And so that's the cool thing about it. Like, literally, it's in here. It just needs to be lettered. Danny's lettering like 4 things right now, plus working his full-time job or whatnot. And we're also trying to. Jeri has been a big help with this comic book and bring it to light. I can't thank her enough for everything that she has done on there. She's an incredible person, in case you guys did not know that. But judging from the comments, it looks like everyone knows you're pretty freaking awesome, Jeri.
Thank you. So are you. We're a great team.
I do love working with her. Plotting, the right time to bring these stories out or these books out. I've learned over time to kind of not hatch my stuff so quickly just because it's done. But a storm is coming, a storm of when these issues, because we got a lot of them virtually done, that are going to drop. But How do you
Brian,
handle? Oh, go ahead.
Brian is making a really good point. And I have this issue as well as an older white woman who really loves diverse characters. It's like I want to make a story with diverse characters, but I'm a little worried about misrepresenting. Would suggest researcher or something else. I never do anything with diverse cultures where I don't send it to my favorite beta reader for that culture. So, and usually I will do 2 or 3 because I have a book that I'm rewriting right now where the main character was white, obviously because I'm white. It's my go-to. So I sent it to one of my beta readers and she was like, well, it's okay. I sent it to another and she was like, whoa, this doesn't work.
Mm.
You have, you have this white guy saving everybody else. And that was not my intention. But I needed that criticism and I needed to change what I wrote based on that criticism. So I vet everything. When it's time for me to choose an artist, like for my children's book, I went to the guy who could draw from that culture so that it's our book, not my book. It's the same sort of thing. When you have people, people. I know people. If you don't know people, I know people. We'll connect you with people. And listen to them. Don't just say, oh, well, they're just overreacting. Because sometimes that reaction is really strong. But that tells you that you missed the mark.
Yeah, I don't think there's I think there's value in all reactions. I think there's value in all of them. It's just how much how much of it that you actually want to use. I think it's a great idea to please research the topic that you're talking about. And sometimes research does not just include you going to the library and reading about it or reading some articles. It means actually talking to people that live that life or have a perspective from that life. And I think you should cushion yourself if you're going to do a story outside of your known culture that that you're trying to write about or whatnot. I think you should cushion yourself to know that it may not hit with everybody, even after you do the research, even after you get 3 or 4 people from that culture to read it and give you their feedback. It may not still hit because everyone's story is different.
Yes, and very distinct.
Yes.
But there are some things that are similar. Stories of loss, stories of hurt, stories of anger, stories of being alone, stories of isolation, which we're dealing with right now. There are stories of love. Those big ideas are generic. They're not culturally based.
Mm-hmm.
So the cultural based things are the thing that makes your story become alive. That story about the haircut, that's a cultural piece I could not write because it doesn't come from my experience. And I wouldn't know to write it.
Right. So that's another thing. How do you know where to put those little pieces in? Because it's great. Yeah, editors are great. Editors are super amazing. Get an editor if you don't have an editor. Because it's great to have those moments in there, but how do you know to even put it in there? As I'm reading that book, I'm not expecting there to be a haircut scene in there. But as soon as I saw that scene and I read it, I was like, it clicked with me. And then, it's just these, again, it's the little nuances of someone who's lived that life that writes about it. That no matter how much research you do, you won't be able to get some of those little things. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. And for me, that haircut story in that book may not click with other people, but it does for me. So there may be different things that work within that book to get people to get people a hold of it. And I just think at the end of the day, I think whether this diversity thing that's happening in our culture, in our geekdom, whether it's all right or half wrong or whatnot, I just think it opens up more doors to other networks. Because look how much Netflix is doing. I know a guy, by the name of Anthony Piper, who has got his show picked up, Trill League, by 50 Cent. And I've watched Anthony Piper work, hustle, and grind on Facebook for like, I don't know, the last 5 or 10 years. I've watched this man work, get into an animation studio, get out of an animation studio, get on with Marvel Comics, work for Marvel Comics for a couple years, get back to his stuff, doing Trill League the whole entire time, and then announcing on Facebook that 50 Cent is one of the executive producers helping launch Trill League into a cartoon.
That's an amazing story.
I mean, it is. It's incredible.
I mean, you look at it and it sounds really simple from the outside. Oh, look, I wrote this thing and now it's a big thing. But those years of work and hustle, that never shows up in anything. You know, you don't see it.
It doesn't. And the reason I'm saying that is because people are looking for our stories. They're looking for Jeri's story. They're looking for my story. They're looking for Byron's story, John's story, Victor's story. You know, they're looking for these stories in our avenues, in our alleys, in our streets, because they see that the top tier industry that's trying to do it isn't satisfying us, isn't satisfying our audience. So as the crap trickles downhill, they're looking and thinking, how can we satisfy them? What can we do that these bigger companies aren't doing? Let's go find some other people. Let's go find some people that are talking this language, that are speaking it. LaShawn, if you've seen me on any streaming, you know I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry. All right. It's just a given. I'm sorry. LaShawn Thomas, I believe, he had Cannon Busters. I've watched this guy for years working on Cannon Busters, trying to make this happen, trying to make it an anime, to produce it, to get it out here for the public in all shapes, way, and forms. And then finally I see it's picked up by Netflix. It's an anime that he's done, super diverse characters, and it's on Netflix. Guess what? I like LaShawn. He's a great guy, great artist, fantastic designer. I watched the cartoon. I watched the whole thing. I mean, the anime, sorry. I watched the whole thing. But I didn't like it that much. It did not speak to me. I was not excited by it. But I watched it. I supported it because I want more things like that. Now, I'm just one person. Somebody else could have loved it, but it wasn't the type of anime that I really was like, oh my God, I'm going to go crazy over it or anything like that. But
and sometimes if it's a new art style, it takes me a while with anime. I'm like, I have the things I love, and you show me something really weird. I have to watch it more than one episode before I can make a decision whether I love or hate it. But for me, it's always a story. Does the story connect with my heart? Do I feel what I want to feel when I'm watching it, whether it's sadness or joy or, you know, whatever?
I'm in your boat. That's why I watched all the episodes of it. But that doesn't mean that we didn't need to have that show.
That's right.
Because I'm telling Netflix, which you're not taking a loss. It's Netflix. You're already paying whatever you're paying a month for Netflix, and you're getting all this content. But I'm telling Netflix, hey, Netflix, I watched it. I want more stuff like this. This one may not have been the cup of tea for me, but I want more stuff created by people like this on Netflix or in general. Mosaic. I didn't like Mosaic, but I bought the first 3 issues of it because I had to give it a try. Because if I'm not, go ahead.
I buy a lot of stuff and give to other people that I think that they should read it. So I buy it, read it, and then I pass it on. I'm like, you need to buy this. You need to read this. You need to know this.
Right, because and I really like that you said this at the beginning of, I'm voting with my money. Because I'm trying to tell them that, yes, we want it. The name of that show is Cannon Busters. Go check it out. Form your own opinion about it. There are things I like about it. There's actually a couple characters I really enjoy and designs that I like. All right, man. If you want to hit me up in the DMs. If you got to go, appreciate you staying out here with us. But, you know, I'm trying to tell the big industry while supporting indies that, hey, this is what I want to see. I want more of this. And then guess what? Not that I knew it was going to happen, But then a year or so later, I get excellence, and excellence is literally excellent. And I'm like, yes, yes, this is what I'm about. This is what I wanted to see. This is what I wanted to see in Mosaic. But you're giving it to me over here, so I'm gonna take it over here. But I cannot stress, and maybe it spoke with me more because I have kids now, and then like I'm taking my kids to go see all these movies. I'm taking my kids to go see, we're watching anime together. We're we're reading together and stuff like that. That I want my kids to be able to see them on TV. When my son, who is named Miles Parker Watson, is sitting here with me and Enter the Spider-Verse, and he's seeing his name or hearing his name, and Miles is throwing on the Spider-Man mask, my son lit up. Litty, as the kids are saying. When we watched Endgame in the theaters, and while a lot of people hate it, I loved it. That scene where all the females lined up and says she has help, my daughters got up out the seats with me. We were amped. Did it make any sense for all those women to be in that one spot at that exact time to go down there running? No, it didn't. It did not make any sense. The timing was all wrong. Do I care? No, Jeri, because it was awesome. Because
and the impact.
Huh?
Here's the impact of that scene. That is a visual moment that goes into your brain. And when you think of powerful women who are in control of their universe, that image is what will flash to the minds of millions of little girls or boys around the world.
No,
that's what powerful women look like. And does it make sense? I don't care.
I don't care. And I'm right there with you, because when have we seen it? Tell me how often it's happened in a movie of this scale, speaking to this many people at this moment.
Right.
But guess what? Because now, if they weren't before, kids are inspired. They're drawing, they're writing, they're creating, because they want to mimic that moment. Like I'm just now connecting the dots, but that moment for my girls, that might have been their moment that I had in 6th grade when I fell in love with comic books. That could have been the moment for them. Whether it made sense logically or it was a dang plot hole, I don't care. It happened. It was there. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's opening up doors to better things.
Yes.
To more creations, to creatives, to ideas, to imagination. It is letting my daughters and everyone else's and my son see that women can own it, can kick butt, because look at the time we're living in. Let's represent. Now, of course, some of these things can be done better. Of course they can. But
absolutely,
you got to break.
Probably by not my generation, probably not your generation, but our girls' generation. The stuff that my granddaughter is turning out at 10 is going to, when she gets real skills, she's going to rock her world. Exactly. And I bet your girls are the same.
They are. They're downloading their animation apps. They're trying to make cartoons. They're making their own comic books. They watch Uncle Victor when he goes live to do his books with them. But like, we're already seeing these things happen. I.e., look at Steven Universe. Look at Gravity Falls. Look at Steven Universe. Look at all these cartoons that we're getting that are made by people like us now, because they grew up watching this stuff, and now we're taking a turn. Like, hey, it's our turn to show you what's out there. Again, I'm not powerful
visions. It's the best way to talk about it.
Hey, I guess we're preaching out here. I guess. I'm just saying, man, when you see these things and you experience them, it makes me, while everyone is entitled to their opinion, whether I agree or disagree with it, it just makes me upset when people say those type of things that, like, we don't need this, just make the comics, just make the TV show. And I'm like, dude, you really don't understand, and you have to step outside yourself to understand what it feels like to be able to see an image of you on TV, in a comic book, in an anime, when you've never seen that thing or it's been poorly represented. It's very freaking important, man.
I taught in an urban school for 18 years, and I taught special needs kindergartners. And finding a book that had an image of them was impossible. You know, nobody wants cute little white girls in every single book. That's not the real world. I want my kids to be able to say, look at this person. I don't know.
I don't know. It is what it is. I just would stress out to people to give it a chance, give it a try, and if you don't, and at the key thing here, if you don't like it, just don't buy it.
We didn't even talk about Titan in this. How could we?
Oh my God!
Not even talk about Titan.
We did not.
I mean, she is my favorite character of all the ones you've written, except for Wolf. You know, but we could have gone another hour.
We could have. And that sucks for me as the creator of the character. I completely forgot about Titan because I have Titan up on my wall. She's on a key member of Heroes International, and people absolutely love her. When they walk past and they see her, they walk past and come back. It's like, that girl thick. I'm like, you dang right.
It's Mike's fault. He was thinking about bacon.
I do love the bacon.
All right. Well, guys, thank you both so very much. What a fantastic panel you guys put on for everybody. Absolutely amazing. And I want to thank both of you guys for taking time out of your busy schedules and days to come and support the Gem City Comic Con. It means so much to us.
No problem at all. Thank you for having me. You put me with one of my best friends here, so I'm excited.
This is who Mike and I are whenever we're together. You know, you're welcome to chime in at any point, but this is who we are.
Yes, absolutely.
There it goes.
Before we go, can I please show these pages? Because Jeri didn't want to see them. Can I show them?
Yes.
Oh, please.
All right, let me hit the share screen. We're going to application.
You've had all this time.
Yeah, we just got carried away. So here's a couple pages from The Wolf, drawn by Zack Snyder and written by Jeri. This is kind of out of order. So here's page 1. And little spoiler, this will little drop some. We're gonna drop something on Gem City. This takes place directly after Heroes International #2, and there's Titan right there with ad lib. Here's page.
And nobody has seen these. These are brand new
pages, fresh out the batch. And page 3, that's Wolf with her nephew. The only time you're gonna see the sweet side of Wolf is when she's with her nephew. That is it. I mean, she's gonna grow. She's gonna have some character growth.
We're not in a hurry to grow her, though.
No, we're not rushing to it. But yeah, right here, you just got an inside look at Freestyle Comics and Jeri.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so very much. We greatly appreciate it. I cannot express how grateful it was for you guys to come here and do this for us. We greatly appreciate it. We hope that we get to see you as we venture to more of these online things. And of course, we'll see you guys next year at Gem City 2021.
Yes. You can ask Mike and I to talk about anything.
I might have to dedicate a full day of, hi, you two sit down with these guys. I'm just going to leave. Bye. All right, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, people. I'm going to warn you. This is going to be something new, something unexpected. This is about to be taken over, and I have no control over this. Let me introduce you to one of the weirdest men in comics I've ever met.
I don't work in comics.
Okay,
Oh,
no, I
baby.
still work. Oh, dear Lord.
Oh,
Hi.
baby. We got an hour.
You get a whole hour. So I'm going to apologize now. With him, though, we have this amazing guy, Andy Bennett. Say hi, Andy.
Woo!
And we're just going to call this the Dave Aikins Variety Show because Dave is like, okay, I want this person and this person and this person and this person and this person. Who are they? You don't get to know until they show up on the screen. Hold on, I'm bringing somebody else in. Why am I doing this and he's not?
I don't, because this whole thing was your idea, so you're going to have to
No,
deal
no,
with
no.
the consequences.
It's not all my idea. Stop telling people that it wasn't. It was a group effort, a community effort.
Who's doing the sound effects? Was that you or Dave?
That one.
No clue, man. No clue.
Fantastic.
No clue. That just happens. I can't hear a damn thing.
Oh, good. Now, if we could just get him to not have to talk, we'd be great. So, of course, I'm going to let you guys have at it. This is all about you guys. And you guys have some fun. And for the rest of you, please enjoy the Dave Aikins Variety Hour. Bye.
Yeah.
I just want to sit back and watch. I'll let you work.
It's gonna get a little crowded in here, Jesse.
I'm going to step out. I'm just going to watch. I don't want to take any of the abuse.
We love you, babe.
Love you too.
All right, welcome. We got an hour on the Gem City Comic Con Facebook page. My name's Dave Aikins. With me, as always, my buddy Andy Bennett. Andy, how you doing, man? Andy can't hear a damn thing. We got no sound from Andy. What? You didn't say no sound. He didn't.
Andy, we need sound.
What's he doing to me? Oh, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. He's just a visual. Is this literally what you're going to be doing to me? Is hand gestures for an hour? Oh, it's tough. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. We're going to have some special guests here for this hour of, I don't know what this is, but it's an hour. And I think we're already done with a couple minutes of it. So that's pretty good. Andy's going to be drawing for an hour. Not talking. Drawing. Supposedly he's drawing Deck Star. I was going to ask him what exactly a Deck Star is, but he's not talking. 20 years doing conventions with this guy, and now he's not talking. Anyway, so sad we can't be there in Dayton to see you all. It's been one of our favorite shows for 15 years. And we look forward to it every year, but this year's a little different. So we are here in our bunkers in an undisclosed location in Central Ohio. And we're having a good time. So, yeah, I can't, this was, so I got 3 SpongeBob books coming out for this new movie. Andy, I didn't read the contract, Andy. Contract said that for personal appearances, I had to wear this thing. And I didn't read the contract. And I didn't realize this was going to be a personal appearance. I thought maybe we dodged a bullet. But yeah. But SpongeBob movie's coming out some point this year, late July. I got 3 books that are out. Don't know where they are out. I think you can get them from Amazon. Maybe some bookstores are open. But yeah, SpongeBob. He's Andy, you want to wear the SpongeBob head? Nothing. We got nothing from Andy. Do we take questions? Amanda, when questions show up, where do questions show up?
If you look at the bottom of the screen, I'll show an example. There you go. Do you see that?
Oh, I like it.
So I'll be able to, as you're going through your variety hour, which Andy says he's working on it. He's going to log out, log back in. He's on like a 30-second delay for some reason. As we go through, right down here, you'll see different comments, and you can read them and play off of those as you go.
Oh, Andy.
And which one's working for you? The private chat or the messenger? So you can tell me when, where, how, and why to pull these.
For me?
Yes, you.
Oh, I have no idea.
It's your hour.
Oh, I see the private chat here.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I see something. Well, hey, why don't let's see. Let's bring in our first guest. Let's bring in Tom. Let's bring in Tom Williams, ladies and gentlemen.
I love watching Tom turn around and going, "Wait, what?"
Hi. Tom Williams. Now, Tom is an indie comics artist here in Central Ohio. Tom is a good buddy of ours, ladies and gentlemen. Tom Williams. Tom, first question for you, Tom. Do you have sound?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
You're already better than Andy.
Okay. I did a little testing before I came on here.
Yeah, how did that go? Did you test positive?
Well,
I've heard that no one in Ohio can get tested.
I got this. I'm good to go.
Great. That's great. Great stuff. Great stuff, Tom. What you been up to, Tom? How you doing?
Living. I'm still here, Dave.
That's about all we got. 60 minutes.
I'm drawing something.
You drawing something? What are you drawing, Tom?
Well, it's part of that 6-character meme thing going on. So Orion's my next one.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So, Tom, let's see. You doing commissions for people? Let's see. What can we plug you? Can we plug things for you, Tom?
Yeah.
What can we plug?
You do like just a marker and graphite sketch.
Now, if people, are you going to be drawing for us today, whatever we are? Where are we? Is it night? What day is it? Where am I? It's night, right? This is on late.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
that explains everything. Are we drunk? Are you drunk?
No, I'm
okay.
Tea. And Clorox. Lots of Clorox.
I like it.
Yeah.
So, let's see. You got any work coming out? Have you been working on anything fun?
Well, given the state of things, I've been trying to get a graphic novel together and basically have it on Amazon. And pull the other. You can do like an author's page. So that's what I was planning to do. Just have it all in one thing where people can order it, because who knows where we're going to be on the end of things.
And this is your own self-published piece here?
Yeah.
Something new or something you've been working on for a while?
Well, a bunch of short stories for this anthology series I have called Calumet. And then a long-form graphic novel. I'm done with the research phase of it, so now I'm in the middle of writing it. Then I don't even think I'm going to serialize it as a webcomic. I think I'm just going to put it out.
Very cool. You doing commissions for people?
Yeah.
Awesome. What's the best place for them to get a hold of you?
Wide open.
Where do people get a hold of you?
Drawrobotdesigns.com. You can email me there. I also have a merch page on Society 6 where you can get everything from like a art print to a duvet cover. The handle is Draw Robot.
Awesome.
And you also follow me on Instagram at also Draw Robot.
Woo.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Normally, Tom is a big part of our local space indie comics convention, as well as the Gem City Comic Con. Tom can usually be seen doing all of the advertising art for Space, which is our fantastic Columbus free. It's free, right?
It is free, yeah.
And that is a show. That is a fascinating show, isn't it?
I don't know if it's honestly going to happen this year or not, but I mean, it's Bob's call. But it's going to be in late or mid-July this year.
Fantastic. Well, we will keep an eye open and see if it happens.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Tom, you going to be drawing while
Yes.
we're check? All right, you get drawn. We're going to check back in with you.
Yep.
See how things are going. Right now, we got Andy Bennett, who I can hear by the sounds of the pen scratchings.
He worked it out.
It looks like it's working now.
Andy Bennett
Can you
is
hear
here
me?
with sound.
Can you hear me now? Holy
Oh,
moly!
baby. I can hear you.
I don't know what happened before, but luckily it's actually working now. So bingo.
It's a sad world when I can figure this stuff out and you can't.
Ain't it the truth?
That is not good. I can see if you guys have any questions for me or for Andy while we're chatting here. I can see some questions and I can see some comments. And you're drawing a deck star. What the hell's a deck star?
I don't know much about it. I know it's a Red Lanterns thing, I guess. Is that kind of an evil Green Lantern thing?
I don't know, but we might have a guest coming up here in a little bit that might know.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Or maybe not.
It'd be good to have somebody who knows around here.
Holy crap. Ladies and gentlemen, it's TV's Daryl Banks.
As seen on TV.
Daryl, what's the deck star?
Deck Star. That's a
Daryl has
Red
no
Lantern.
sound.
He was a cat. You
Daryl,
can't hear me?
We can't hear you, man.
Okay, let's try this.
I can hear him just fine.
You can hear Daryl?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, then, Andy, what's Daryl telling me?
I'm telling you the
Same
secrets of
thing
the
I told
universe. Pretty much.
Amanda,
How about
why
now?
can't I hear Daryl?
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Daryl, you're
This
good.
is,
It's Andy. He's broken.
Well,
What?
Oh,
why can't I hear Daryl?
who can hear me?
All right, here we go. I'm switching. I'm going for a walk, Daryl.
I got you, Daryl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Andy, translate. What are the words? What's Daryl saying?
I'm telling all the secrets
Fill
of
me
the
in here.
universe.
He's
It's just between me and Andy.
He's explaining the secrets of the universe to me.
Thank God. All right, you two discuss and.
Wow. Yeah. Well, hey, Daryl, how's it going, man? Long time no see, buddy.
Hey, good to be seen. Good to be seen. Fun
Yes,
times
sir.
we're in. Fun times we're in.
Oh, yeah.
It was painful
Let's-
enough for us not to have Gem City, but Heroes is another casualty of the
That's
COVID war as well.
another knife in the heart, man. I'm very
Yeah.
disappointed about that. We've lost Heroes, we've lost Motor City, and we've lost Gem City now. So it's one by one, they're all falling away.
I tell you.
But I'm glad to see that you're staying healthy and being well.
Oh, I'm glad that you're up and running too. I see you've got the ultimate setup there where you get to work and join us on this fine broadcast. Is
Oh,
your
buddy.
camera like hanging from a light, or how are you doing that?
It's kind of
Oh,
just floating over my head here on a stick.
now I've lost you again. Wait, how do I fix that? Let's see. How about now?
Look at this. I'm on two different microphones, so I turned one off. Can you hear me now?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Can you hear
Now
me?
I can hear
Okay.
you. Yes.
Good deal. I had two microphones going at once when I had two videos going at once, so it got confused.
Okay.
We're learning as we go, folks.
Yes. Definitely. It's funny. I can see myself on your monitor, but it's on like a several second delay. Like I'm waving my hand in one, and it's like away in the other one. You're
so
in a different
distracting.
different time zone.
It's like a looper over here. Yes. Well, hopefully Dave will get himself logged back in here because
Hey!
I don't know. He seemed to be having the same problem that I was having earlier.
Now I can hear Dave. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can.
That's Daryl.
Andy.
Andy, can you?
I think we're 100% now.
Ah.
Okay. Good.
Look at that. Hi, Daryl. Now the thing I like right now is that Daryl is sideways, so I feel like I need to.
Oh wow.
Kind of like
I'm sideways.
Daryl's dancing on the ceiling. Hi, Daryl. How are you?
It's Spider-Man powers. I actually am sideways. It's nothing wrong with your camera.
I like the visual from the studio. It focuses nicely on my garbage can collection.
Yeah.
This way, that way.
Look at all that space.
That's nice. Well, you know, I have lots of crap to fill it with. How you been, Daryl?
I'm doing all right. Just these are trying times. I just had an uncle pass away last weekend. Not from COVID, but just he was 92, but still it's sad nonetheless. But
I'm so sorry to hear that.
But other than that, we're all doing the best we can. Hopefully we can, stick together and keep each other encouraged, that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's been weird. My mom has a good friend up in Michigan that is on a respirator or not doing so well from the good old COVID, which is terrifying. And she's finishing up chemo, a year of chemo, which is a weird way of finishing up a year of chemo. And congrats, you finished up a year. Here's a pandemic for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad she's still all right.
Yeah. Thankfully, everybody's doing well, so that's nice. You keep them busy doing some drawings?
Yeah, it's funny. I've never seen my commission list so short because I've had more time to work on them. Without shows. I just recently finished a story in the upcoming Green Lantern 80th anniversary book. That was fun to do, but it between that and of course Hawthorne, I don't know if they're still up and running. I haven't done anything for them for a few weeks, so I don't know if when I saw Jace had posted some pictures of something from his personal collection, I knew we were in trouble. I'm like, yeah, Jace never posts that kind of stuff on Facebook. I'm like, oh, should I be worried?
Now, for those that don't know, Daryl and I do a lot of product design work for the Bradford Exchange and their other divisions. Bradford Exchange, Hawthorne Village, Hamilton Collection. I do a lot of stuff for the Hamilton Collection these days. Daryl does a lot for the Chicago group, Hawthorne. And do you do stuff for just regular Bradford as well? There's a lot of Hawthorne.
Mainly Hawthorne, but there's a Bradford here and there. It seems like it's more like, how can I put it? Like, I don't want to say girly stuff, but like, I did some
Cat Nativity.
Was that your creation? Because I've done quite a few of those lately.
Love the Cat Nativity.
Yeah, I that was recent. What else? I'm drawing a blank.
That's probably right.
I even did some for old time's sake, some old Nightmare Before Christmas. That used to be a staple back in the day. And then kind of brought that back for a while there. So
Yeah, I've got some nightmare stuff I have to work on Monday with some Harry Potter stuff. So that's going to be cool, I guess.
So Hamilton, Hawthorne, they're still up and running. They're not shut down or anything like that.
Everyone is that Ken is working from home, at least for the Florida division, and you know they get their sales week to week to see how things are going. The last time I asked, they were doing fine because of being an online seller. So that's that. Dexter is an Earth cat that became a Red Lantern.
It was an actual cat, not a cat like Alien or anything like that. That's what's interesting about it. It was like a cat, you know, a cat that got a power ring, an abused cat, I guess, or something like that.
Yes, he's a very angry cat.
Wow. Wow, that's I like it. All right, so we got this bad.
That looks familiar.
This bad boy. Where can people buy this? This was a Kickstarter. This is the Darryl Banks Black Book, The Art of Darryl Banks. Ooh, which features a lot of drawings and commissions and concept sketches and lots of good stuff from Darryl Banks. Ooh, hey, who's that guy? I don't know.
Oh, it looks familiar. Is that Batman or something like that?
It's not in color, so I don't know what color. Is it?
Oh, you mean the character on the cover?
Well, who is the character on the cover?
That's the. I should give him a name because it's his second appearance. The last time I had to put something on a cover or something I was doing for a signing, it was a company out of Florida, I think, and they're like, "Well, you can't use anything copyrighted." So it was that character. Because I thought, well, let me put a little Japanese live action kind of some design cues to it. And
the Ultraman.
Actually, you know what I think about it? That's a character that's kind of based on a character I did when I was going to CCAD. It was a character named Cyberforce, and that was my kind of Ultraman-ish type of character that I came up with. I was
Cyberforce.
Back during my. It's like can't copyright that. Thanks, Mark Silvestri. But
yeah, jeez.
By the way, a little plug for CCAD, Columbus College of Art and Design. So far, there's been four, counting Tom, 4 graduates from Columbus College of Art and Design here today.
So is this like the CCAD hour? Or is that what we're doing?
We salute you, CCAD. So where can people get this now that missed out on Kickstarter?
I think there's still some copies available from ominouspress.com. If I www.ominouspress.com, OMINOUSPRESS.com. And also, you should still also be able to get Harkins Raiders. They should still have some.
You mean this one?
That one, yes.
Oh,
it's so lovely.
It's oversized, and this one, ooh, color. Let's see. Ooh. Now, Darryl, this doesn't have superheroes in it. What happened?
No, it doesn't. I was promised robots and laser guns, and I didn't get any of that. No. That Harkins Raiders would remind me of some of my early days of independent comics, like working with Millennium, working on Wild Wild West and Doc Savage, Man of Bronze.
Yes.
I used to tell my students at CCAD is that you really want to be able to do things that are reference heavy, because that's really the nature of being an illustrator. You've got to be able to prepare to research and draw things out of your comfort zone, that sort of thing. But man, World War II, yeah, that was some work. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every bit of it. It seemed like it had so many delays. A lot of it was on my part. At one point, I had gotten real sick. This is of course pre-COVID, but and then my father had gotten cancer, and then he passed away. It just seemed like the book was never going to get made. But finally, here we are. It's all ready for all those to be interested in picking up a copy.
And this was written by Ron Mars.
Yes.
Good old Ron, and is also available
Green
from
Lantern Farmers.
omnispress.com.
Yes.
Very, very
Co-created by my good friend Alan Cordry. He came up with the initial idea and had Ron kind of flesh it out. And then we needed some visuals to go along with it, and that's where I came in. But yeah,
just
a lot
for
of
you, Daryl.
What's that? Is that a Garcia Lopez, Hal Jordan?
Well, I mean, yeah, it's Garcia, but everything's Garcia.
You mentioned we were talking about Motor City earlier.
Jose.
That was when I actually met him. I'm glad that's a legend that's still with us. I tell you, I don't know one person that doesn't have some Garcia Lopez influence stories. You know, I certainly have quite a few.
Jose's the best. He's the nicest guy. He's the most humble guy, and he can draw circles around all of us.
Most definitely.
Which is very humbling on our part.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm pretty good. Oh, I'm not.
I mean, you might be feeling pretty good about yourself. Then you look at Atari Force and you're thinking, yeah, you're going to have to put in some more work.
The only good thing about it is that at least he's been there our entire lives. So it's nothing new. It's not like he came out of, it's not like he just tripped and went, oh my God, what is this? It's like, at least we've known, he's always been there for us.
Always been around, yeah.
Which is why it's wonderful that he's still there. And like a lot of creators like Joe Kubert, his abilities have just gotten better and better and better. There's no, well, the older stuff was better. Hey,
That's
your
true.
stuff,
That's true.
I've been seeing some of the new Green Lantern stuff, and even your stuff not for DC is just cooler and cooler and cooler, my friend. So kudos to you for
thanks.
The boundaries and working the programs and just getting better and better and better.
I think, well, as a digital artist also, you know the advantage of being able to work traditional or digital. I mean, in this day and age, you really need to be as flexible and versatile as possible. I saw you had asked Paul Harding about ZBrush. That's something that I myself asked him, I think.
Well, he never got back to me, that jerk. No.
He said it's just, I don't know about these 70s Marvel pieces he's been doing, but before some of the other things he was posting, I was talking with him at Motor City about just learning ZBrush. And I thought, I've never even touched it before. He said, if you can draw, you can use ZBrush. And I'm thinking, well, coming from him, but he's an expert at that. You know, it's sort of like, it might be, you know, if Phil Mickelson said, oh, golfing is easy. All you just do is you just hit the ball and it goes into a hole. I'm like, okay, sure.
Yeah.
So,
you know, and that's what I see it all. I see it as great reference. I don't have any interest in getting ZBrush to a point where it would be for sculpt. I just want to be able to find something where I can get it to provide reference for drawings. But for me, it's such a part-time thing. I don't have any huge hurry to break down and learn it.
Well, have you tried something simpler like Daz Studio? Where you could just, I mean, if you don't need specific characters, I mean, it's a 3D program, it's free. You know how the app we use, Handy, it's picture Handy except a lot more detailed, you know, a lot more specific.
Hey, Amanda, do we have, is Michael here yet? Look, ladies and gentlemen, not to cut you off, Daryl, but
Mr. Munster himself.
Mr.
We are
Munster
honored.
himself, it's Michael T. Gilbert.
Wow.
Woo!
Thank you.
Oh man, so Daryl, Michael was going to join us at Gem City this year for his first time ever.
Second time.
Second time? Oh, you were.
Last year was my first one, and I loved it. It was really nice. I was looking forward. My wife and I were both looking forward to coming this year again. Didn't happen.
I have no recollection of last year. It seems like it was a decade.
I do. I remember.
Michael, it's good to see you. How have you been?
Oh, good actually. All things considered. As with everyone, staying inside the house a lot, but that's not that much different from it usually is. So. I feel sorry for the people who are used to going out and going to work and doing all the things they do. I'm usually in my studio and downstairs working out here, so it hasn't changed tremendously, except when it's time to go to the supermarket or seeing relatives or friends or something.
I feel odd that this whole stay-at-home thing, this was our shtick. This was
yeah, they co-opted it.
This is so I feel really weird.
It's our domain.
Yeah, if we don't have this as our thing, what do we have?
What do we have? What do we have?
So I'm kind of insulted that so many people are kind of co-opting our shtick.
We still have pen points, so that's half of it.
So yeah, it's not a lot different, but yet it's a weird anxiety of knowing that other people, you know, when you get the empathy in with other people living this life out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know, you almost want to kind of say, you know, we've done this for, you know, 20, 30, 40.
Yeah.
Long time. You could do it. It's okay.
But yeah, it's certainly a whole different world than we thought a few months ago. I mean, it's crazy how it just came almost from nowhere, and suddenly we're even wondering whether there's, you know, on our own personal thing, whether there's going to be comic book shops or, you know, what's our industry going to be like.
Yeah, and that's kind of even for myself with just children's publishing for the books that I work on. You know, the question, we work so far in advance, so the stuff I'm working on now comes out I don't know, next winter or next spring. So you always kind of wonder if things are just going to get postponed, or if, you know, will the boat from China arrive? What's going to happen with all this? I mean, I've got books that came out at the end of March for the new SpongeBob movie. New SpongeBob movie. When is that coming out?
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah. Geez. I mean, I was at the theater about a couple of months ago when there was a poster and the thing for the new James Bond movie in April 12th, and I was really looking forward to that. And well, that wasn't happening.
Yeah, I hurried up and watched all 25 Bond movies
in preparation.
I made sure, because my kid was born in 2007. I hadn't seen any of the Daniel Craig ones, so I watched them all, and I was already in it.
Yeah, what'd you think of the Daniel Craig ones?
Oh, I enjoyed them. them. Yeah, the first one was great, and then the director of the second one took a dive, but they were enjoyable. But after the Bond movies are not meant for you to watch 25 of them over like 8 months. They're just not. They're the same movie.
Yeah.
So it's really it's almost cruel. It's like, if you hate yourself, watch them all.
Well, I would have skipped the Roger Moores, but okay.
Wait! I have a sound effect for that. Oh, I thought I had a boo. No. If you don't know Michael's work, this is Mr. Monster. This is one of the hardcover collections. I have been a huge fan of Mr. Monster comics for many, many, many decades. To me, Mr. Monster was up there with the Rocketeer and American Flag and Mage and Grendel from Matt Wagner, all of the fantastic 80s indie comics characters that continued into the 90s and now. So we thank Mr. Michael T. Gilbert for all his fantastic work on that. What are you working on these days, Michael? You doing commissions for people?
Doing commissions. I'm also been working on some Mr. Monster projects. So for when this thing ends, I can pitch it instead of having dead time. I can create work for myself, which is nice. It's one of the nice things about having create your own character. Sooner or later, I always sell these things. But
and if people want to contact you about commissions, the best place to do that is where?
I have a Facebook page, and they can also email me at mgilbert00@comcast.net.
Woo! That's awesome. Now, also, let's briefly mention your wife Janet, who is a fantastic writer and has written for Disney Comics.
Yeah,
And,
she wrote for them for about 28 years.
How is she doing?
She's doing fine. Again, doesn't like being stuck in the house as much, but she's doing fine. And she's taking the time to do a lot of drawing. She's a very good cartoonist also. So it's nice watching her create these things.
Very cool. Now, do you have to does she ask you for advice on anything, or you just shut the heck up?
Once in a while, if she has some kind of technical question, I'll help her. But usually it's just, whatever she feels like drawing right then, kind of crazy faces and characters and such. She's not doing sequential art. She's just doing illustrations, more cartoony illustrations, but very, very good, very creative stuff.
That's very cool. That's because that's always been, what I wanted to ask you was my issue, and the reason why I don't think I've ever done anything sequential is that I've never found or never come up with an idea that I liked enough or trusted enough to bother with drawing page after page after page. So did I just black out here?
No, you're fair.
Oh, good. I'm still here. My computer went to sleep. What was it about Mr. Monster that said to you, yeah, this is worth my time. I can get story after story out of this. This is exactly what I want. What was it about Mr. Monster that was so great?
Well, it kind of narrowed all my comic book interests. I mean, it had horror, which I love, superheroes, which I love, with a tongue-in-cheek approach that I took with this. So it's kind of mixing up the Harvey Kurtzman Mad magazine with the EC horror comics and Steve Ditko's Spider-Man, Simon Kirby Fighting American, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and what was cool about Mr. Monster was not only could he carry his own stories cross-genre, but you also created a host that you could use to you had your kind of curated collections of crime stories and things that you tied in with Mr. Monster there, which I always thought was really cool as well.
Yeah, well, I've also indicated that Mr. Monster has his comic crypt, which has the greatest collection of comic books in the world. So he's got just about everything you've ever seen, a couple of copies of Wiz #2 and all sorts of stuff. And I have a comic book history series in Alter Ego magazine that Mr. Monster's Comic Crypt, and 6 pages usually per issue, and I explore all these weird bits of comic book history, artists, crazy stories and such. And I've been doing that for about 21 years now. So we've got 162 issues under our belt. Roy Thomas edits the magazine. It's his magazine.
Yeah,
it's section in there.
It's wild what Tomorrow's and what publishing can do now with what used to be fanzines and Xeroxed, or these kind of things that looked homemade and had very little distribution now look or are totally professional. And
prozines more than fanzines, but they have the same heart of the fanzines, but professional quality material in there.
And it's wonderful because now these guys and gals can print artist biographies, art collections. I mean, even like with Daryl's drawing book, all of us on our own or with publishers can do really nice looking things. But even professionally, there's a nice support and a nice industry for a lot more comics history than ever before, and it's quite wonderful.
Well, and one of the big things, one of the big advantages has been the internet. We have so many people with information about this and that, and they can all share it. There's the Grand Comic Book Database, where you can find the covers and names and dates of just about every comic out there. The Jeri Bale's Who's Who, which gives information about the different artists and cartoonists. These are things that we didn't have 40 years ago. You had to start digging into wherever you could find them, and there was a lot of misinformation. But once you get that collection in there, you can really find out a lot. Now we learned an awful lot about people, and I've learned a lot with some of my explorations about different cartoonists sometimes by contacting their children or grandchildren. And even if they're gone, you get a lot of information that you wouldn't have known otherwise. They're still around, and that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's wild because a lot of comics history is a lot more confusing or detailed or ambiguous or weird than anybody would have ever imagined when you get to ghost artists and ghost writers, and not ghost writer, the character, but when you get to all the studios and who did what or who didn't create what, and now that these characters are billion-dollar characters, a character like Batman is fascinating because it's just a mess.
Well, I was looking at on TV. I think it was on Hulu or Netflix. I forget which one, but they had the movie Bill and Batman. I think it was called, but it was about Bill Finger. Came out 2-3 years ago, and talking about how basically how Bob Kane, the supposed creator, he created the whole thing with Bob Kane and Bill Finger together, and Bob made sure he got all the credit and contractually made sure Bill got nothing from it. And it was fascinating because they dug and they found the children and the grandchildren, even a grandchild of Bill Finger that they didn't even know existed. It was just very fascinating. But they found all this. Mark Noble found all this really amazing stuff about it, and it made it fascinating.
I just got an email.
Oh, good.
Amanda, is Tom still there? Is Tom drawing? Let's check back to how's Tom doing? We have to make sure Tom's still with us. How's the drawing coming, Tom?
Must be tough sideways.
We can't see it. There we go.
There you go.
Oh, it's Thundercats Live, isn't it?
Sure.
That's gorgeous, Tom. Oh no, it's Orion. I thought it was
Orion.
It's Orion.
Yeah.
For a second, it looked like a Panther. Just because you stuck that in my brain. That's awesome, Tom.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is fantastic. Hey,
is that a Panthro Orion mashup?
No,
it's hard to tell.
No, it's Brian.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Amanda, do we have Ian Hummel yet? We have Captain here. So it's not a variety show without a musical guest. So I brought in my friend Captain.
Hey, guys.
How you doing, Captain?
Can you hear me?
You're a little broken up.
Can you hear me? Because you guys are cutting. You're real broken up. I couldn't hear what you've been saying this whole time. I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Oh,
too many screens.
Like right now. It says everyone can hear me.
I think I can hear you. I can hear you.
There. I'm back down in my home base here.
I like it. You're upside down right now, which I like.
You're right side up for me.
And you could hear me
a little bit.
I can hear you.
I can see him. I just can't hear him that well.
I can hear you, Ian.
Hey, if Tom can hear you.
You're a little you're picking up, but sort of, yeah.
Guys,
As a person running this, we can hear you, Captain. You're right side up. You're good.
Do you just give me a thumbs up if I?
Well, Captain, this is our buddy Ian. Ian is a musician here in Columbus, Ohio, with the band the Shazbots, and well, that's the right name of the band, right, Ian?
I can't hear a thing you guys are saying. It's
it's an alien language.
That's my Dave Aikins impression.
All right, Ian's going to join us.
Am I in the Bermuda Triangle?
Ian's going to play us a song. Ian's going to play us one of his old hits called Comic Book Shop. So, Ian, do it. Go.
I'll just say I'm Captain from the Shazbots. We play kids rock music. He's in the house. He's in the house, Ian. It's coming from in the house.
It's coming from in the house. The call is coming from inside the house.
This is the craziest thing I've ever been a part of, Dave. This is our new album. It's called Light Speed. It was drawn by a CCAD alumnus named Joel Jackson. Did some amazing art on our new vinyl record. That's right, vinyl for all the kids. Macaroni and cheese colored. And there it is. And the inside is crazy. Look at the cross section of all the rooms in our space Winnebago. Yeah, do you believe in miracles? And I guess I'm supposed to play a song about comic books since we're at the Gem City Comic Book Show virtually. And this one's on our album Blast Off. And I wrote it years ago. It's got a lot of superheroes in it. And hopefully you guys can hear me okay. And I'm just going to go and start playing this song right now. Comic book shop, comic book shop. Everybody going to the comic book shop, comic book shop, comic book shop. Everybody going to the comic book shop. I said, hey, whoa, let's go. Woo! Iron Fist, Falcon, Captain America, Midnight Moon, Night Betty, Veronica, Paul, Shang-Chi, Mr. Freeze, Dr. Doom, JLA, JSA, Richie, Rich, Bing, Bang, Boom, Wonder Woman, Seven, Dragon, Wolverine, Hulk, Thing, Flash, Wife. See what I mean? Comic book shop, comic book shop. Everybody go to the comic book shop, comic book shop, comic book shop. Everybody going to the comic book shop. I say, hey, ho, let's go. Here comes the colors verse. Black, lining, black, counter, black, gold, white, tiger, black cat, black canary, silver, blue devil, black knight, red tornado. Jacket, blue beetle, black panther, green arrow, scar.
Did we lose Ian?
Oh no.
Yeah, he blacked out on me.
We lost Ian.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Too many superheroes.
Sorry.
Ian,
Come back, Captain. Come back, Captain. Captain, come back. Come back.
Like Mr. Freeze got him.
See, that's what you get for calling it the colored section. That's what you got.
we lost the captain. Oh, God bless you, Captain. Salute you. Let's hear it for the captain. Woo! Oh, that's our buddy Ian, Captain from the band The Shazbots. They are a local Columbus band. They got a great record out, and right now, not playing any gigs, which stinks. But when this is all over with and you're in the Columbus, Ohio area, there's a kids band, and check them out. Check them out. Well, see, we tried to have a music act.
I heard it.
It was going there. It was going there. It was going well.
And then it just kind of like got so choppy to the point where you're like, wow. But I could tell, he's very talented. It was kind of like it was better than I think. I'd never heard of him before, but it's like, no, okay, this is a professional. This isn't just some guy, like, oh, yeah, I can do this. I'm like, oh.
No. Ian's been one of our buddies. Ian's been a comic fan, a comic nerd, and one of our buddies for decades.
So Shazbots, is that a Mork and Mindy influence there, or is that same thing or what?
No, not at all. Totally, they made up the word.
Not in the least.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Amanda, is Bill there? Bill's been waiting.
Unfortunately.
Hey, everybody, let's bring in our good buddy. This is super fan Bill Thade.
Huh. Hi guys. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
We're doing good. Bill won a contest to be on the show. To be
That's right.
He's the #1 super fan. So he won our contest to be involved here on the Power Hour. So how are you, Bill?
Doing good. Drinking some Hellboy beer. Ooh.
I saw Hellboy. Got a Hellboy sketch to do today.
Good thing somebody's drunk.
Not yet. I'm working on it, Dave. I'm working on it.
I can't hear him.
Last time you and I got drunk, do you know what I did?
Bill, you're a little loud.
Last time I was drunk with you, do you remember what I did?
You bid on that. Yeah. That's the Heroes Con auction. Bill, you got to stop that, Bill.
And that.
Ooh, Andy.
Who did the Sandman? Was that Andy?
Well, that was worth every penny, Bill. Yeah, that's one of Andy Bennett's. That was for the Heroes Con auction. Michael, they need to get you to Heroes Con when there is another Heroes Con.
Yeah, whenever that is. Oh, that's a painful thought. I tell you, it gets me every time. There's no heroes this year. Oh man.
Yeah.
That is Michael.
It seems like the whole summer's been shot.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I heard it's a good con. I wouldn't mind going sometime.
It's one of the best.
It is one of the best. I think
it's a great con.
Yep, good town, good show, lots of fans and lots of art collectors.
Comic focused.
Yeah. So
lots of comic books. It's a great show for comic books. 3 best shows for comics: Gem City, Heroes, and Baltimore.
Baltimore.
3 great shows.
Baltimore will hopefully possibly be towards the end of October this year.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
If they cancel Baltimore,
fingers crossed, right?
I just don't know if I could take it. Oh, I hope they don't cancel it.
Did you live in Columbus?
CXC in October.
Dayton, Ohio.
I still can't hear Bill.
You can't hear Bill?
No.
Bill is like super loud on my end.
You're getting all the sound, Dave.
Boundaries.
Mm-hmm. I hear him.
I mean,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I got Bill.
I can hear you too. Daryl.
Okay.
This is
Count yourself lucky, Terrell. That means you don't have to deal with Bill.
Hey, he's the contest winner. He's our special guest.
He's our special guest.
Key word there, my dears. Special.
Oh man, Amanda, we got 7 minutes left. Is that what we're looking at here?
That was an hour? Wow, it feels like 5 minutes.
That went by real fast.
You got Andy. The only thing that we didn't get was to get to see Andy dance the Ian song.
Let's plug Andy Bennett. This is one of Andy Bennett's books. This is his Nightmare Before Christmas collection. You can get
beautiful
on Amazon.com. And this is part of Andy's Inktober, but not Inktober collection, because for copyright reasons, it has nothing to do with Inktober. But a lovely collections of pen and ink. Andy's newest collection that came out this year is based on the Muppet Show. A lot of Muppets and Sesame Street characters. And and animals. Look at that cat. Is that done?
It's almost done.
Tiny detail. Almost there.
He's got to add whiskers. Andy, what the Muppet book is on Amazon right now?
No, it's still in development, so it's going to be a little while yet.
What the hell, man? Yes.
I know, right?
You would think there was a pandemic or something keeping things from happening.
So which books are on Amazon, Andy?
Only one of them is available on Amazon right now, the very earliest one, with the Tarantino characters. The other ones are going back under redesign. So probably later this summer, everything will become available again.
All right, Andy, if people watching want their own cat as a Green Lantern in a lovely drawing by you, or any pet as a Green Lantern, where do they contact you?
You can contact me on Instagram or on Facebook or on DeviantArt or on Twitter.
That's too many things, man.
What about Tumblr?
Same username everywhere. So just contact me right there. Add Bennett with 3s on your social media platform of choice, and reach out.
Oh,
List is always open. Sometimes it's a little longer, sometimes it's a little shorter, but list is always open. So
that's good stuff, babe. All right, hey
thank
Bill.
you very much.
Bill, we're gonna swap you out.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna swap you out from Jesse. Bill,
Sounds good.
it's good to see you. Hey, Bill, thank you.
Goodbye.
Hey,
Thanks for
before
stopping
you
by,
go,
Bill.
thank you so much for
Thanks,
everything.
Bill.
Thanks for having me.
We love you.
Good to see you, buddy.
We'll see you at the show next year.
Yes, sir.
All right, Amanda.
Next year.
Give us the Jesse in the
Man of the
house.
hour. The noble
You know,
himself,
something that people
Jesse
don't know is that Billy's been a big part of the show since the beginning. It was probably his impotence is what, not impotence, that was the wrong word. He was the impotence. I said it again.
Impetus.
It's been a long weekend.
An ominous.
One of the reasons why we started putting on this show to begin with. I first walked into a shop, and that's where we started talking about putting on a show first. So Billy's been a big part of this since the very, very beginning. I couldn't put it on without him.
Yep, he's an insane bastion of comics knowledge, as well as an extremely enthusiastic supporter of comics and comic artists and comic writers. And both you and Bill's support over the past 15 years that we've known you or so has been just so infectious and so wonderful and flattering. And it's meant a lot to us in Ohio. Roger Price used to be our captain for so many years here with Mid-Ohio Con. And before that, with the folks in Mansfield that enjoyed his show there. And when Roger took a break and said he had had enough, it left us with nothing. And so it's been absolutely lovely to have you guys be here in Ohio, and to have people like Michael come back to Ohio, and to have something where the moment somebody comes to Ohio, we say, ah, ha, ha, we know a place for you.
Right.
That, you know, is something to look forward to every year and see everybody. And Amanda, you do a lovely job helping out as well, lady. So it's really been great. We can't.
I'm okay.
Because otherwise, you know, a lot of shows we've seen a growth of comic shows in Ohio. Some of them, like Cincinnati, have decided to be the larger celebrity, you know, comics medley, which is great. Some of the shows like Akron have done their best, but, you know, have kind of switched or changed owners a bit. Some shows are still trying to find their footing, or I just don't know them.
Right.
But you, I think you other than, you know, Bob Corby and some of the shows that are either indie or non-guest related shows, you get to claim the title of longest running here, don't you?
I guess if you say so, I will go with that. We love comics in Dayton. I know, and comics is really important to putting on a show. We could put on a show with guests and stuff, but it wouldn't be comics. It doesn't help comics, and that's what Gem City is really about. Is about pencil to paper. And when it comes to that, nobody does it better than you guys there. Nobody. And we're so pleased that you're part of our community and part of our little group of creators that come back to Gem City. I can't express how grateful I am that you've sort of adopted us as your go-to comic show, despite all the other things that have happened over the years. But I'm just really pleased to know you and have you part of our community.
Well, you know, like I said, we enjoy seeing the people of Dayton every year. They're a great bunch. It's nice for the people of Columbus because it's not like it's a super far trek. And for those weirdos up in Akron, I guess it's not too far of a drive.
Not bad. It's not bad. It's doable.
But hopefully, Michael, we'll see you next year.
I look forward to it.
I hope so.
Yes.
For sure.
Because we need you. We need you there, man.
Okay.
You give us
That'd be
some
awesome.
credibility, man. We like it.
Have Penn will travel.
Well, Jesse, thank you again.
Thanks,
You're very
Jesse.
welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's been great. It's great getting to know you and the family and everybody else and all your crew. And sorry we couldn't see you all this year. It's nice to be able to see you through this, at least.
Right.
But we'll get this all. They'll get this all figured out.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hopefully. I'm
Jesse,
getting hungry.
Jesse, I know you've been plugging away, but you have been doing auctions and sales through Facebook and through other things.
Yeah, a little bit. Without the shows this year, and without Gem City, I got an overstock of books and an understock of money. So that's how that works. Now I'm just trying to move a few things to make sure my children don't or can go back to school in the fall. Yeah. And just that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been fun. There's a nice little group of people there, and nothing's too expensive yet. I'm gonna break out some bigger books this weekend though.
And the best place to follow you and your auctions is the Gem City page on Facebook.
Yeah, well, it's Gem City Comics, not Gem City. I don't want to, not too much. I don't want to use the audience for Gem City, to fund my own little comic book auction page. But yeah, it's connected. It's Gem City Comics on that, and it's an open enrollment. There's nobody can. You don't have to pass a test to get in. You just have to have money.
All right. Now, since we're wrapping up here, I'm going to do my little plug here. I got new books that were written by John Cena that are out this year for his elbow grease character. That's John Cena. That's celebrity there.
Dun, 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 dun.
And my own series of art collections, my 50 portraits, which collects a lot of the commissions that I do. These are black and white technique studies, usually from photos and things like that. Let's find. Hey, Bill, I think that's your Batman. Look at that.
I think that's it.
So those are
That's great.
my series of art books are available on Amazon.com called 50 Portraits. Throughout the year, occasionally I have time to do commissions, and you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook under Dave Aikins, and keep an eye open for when I announce I'm doing commissions. And that's my pimpin'. Woo! New SpongeBob book's out for the movie. The movie's not out. No clue when the movie is gonna come out. So yeah, hey, thanks guys. Daryl Banks. Wait, I gotta get that. Daryl Banks is on this side for me. Once again, Daryl Banks commissions. Contact him through Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook, Twitter, probably more. I'd probably say Twitter might be the best, but I can, you can instant message me on any of the social media. Except MySpace. I kind of gave up MySpace a while ago. No,
and once again, Ominous Press for the wonderful hardcover collection of your art of Daryl Banks, Black Book, and Hawkins Raiders, which are fantastic. Yes. I'm going to be waiting 6 feet away from you outside of your place for you to come up and sign them.
I've got robot arms so I can sign at a distance.
Michael T. Gilbert, one of my favorite comic creators. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
And Michael, commissions through you can be pursued through Facebook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Look for hopefully for more Mr. Monster collections. Previous collections are still available?
Yes, they can be ordered through me.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
That is great. It's good to see you, sir. Keep on drawing the fantastic drawings and making those crazy stories.
Well, thank you, sir. I will.
And Andy Bennett down there drawing a weird cat thing. Oh man. Good to see you, buddy. And Andy
Yes,
Bennett,
sir.
once again, commissions can be ordered through all social media, Facebook, Instagram. It's B3NN3TT. That's the way you get hold of Andy Bennett for fantastic pen and ink commissions. And me, I'm Dave Aikins. Thanks so much for joining us. We have gone over our time. Tom Williams. Tom, forgot about Tom. Tom, where we get a hold of you, babe?
DrawRobotDesigns.com.
How's the drawing coming?
Robot on social.
Is Orion all done?
I gotta align it. Oh, here we go.
Oh, that's awesome. Looks great,
Looking
babe. Hey, it's
good.
good to see you, buddy. My best to you and your wife.
Yeah.
We're thinking about her,
Thank you.
and wish you all the best. We'll see you soon.
Thanks.
And one last thing, Tom's Oni book, No Dead Time, I got right here. Tom, is this still available at fine booksellers?
You can find it on Amazon. It's long out of print. I have a nice copy of it in Spanish.
Oh, it's a beautiful book. Beautiful book.
Very good.
Well, thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Jesse.
No, I appreciate you.
And thank you very much to Captain for his musical for being our musical guest. Thank you, Ian Hummel.
Right.
We salute you, Captain.
Don't forget to give Amanda a shout out.
And Amanda. Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thanks, Amanda.
I guess we're all done.
Bless your heart.
We've run over, Jess. Now it's your turn. You take over.
All right. Well, then I'll just take over.
Yes.
I don't know what to do with
Take
that
it
other
home.
than to say thank you, fellas, and thank you everybody that listened to the online con this week or this weekend. I know it's not what you wanted, but it's what you got. And hopefully next year we'll all be able to spend it together in the wonderful Gem City. And I don't know what else to say.
You can come up with something.
I thought that was it. That was the extent. I don't want to.
That was the sign off.
Right. That was it. That was the sign off.
Short and sweet.
That's what we got.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
Good night,
Take care,
Gracie.
everybody. God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And we're just left with Andy.
No. So this last hour, the problem is I can only do so many people at a time. But you all don't have to leave. We still have 52 minutes to fill.
Nope.
At
I
the
can
end,
split,
but that's
Yes, bye, Michael.
Hi, Michael. But anybody who wants to stay is more than welcome to stay. Anybody who wants back in, I can only do 6 people at a time, though. The thing that I'm doing is this is just a time to reminisce about Gem City. I know we've done that a lot, and to praise Jesse and to praise him, Bill, with everything that they've done. They have been absolutely fantastic, and that's why we put this together for you guys.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, thank
Bye,
you.
people.
Well, thanks, guys. Michael's going to check out. Good to see you, Michael.
Bye,
Likewise.
Michael. Thank
Bye
you
now.
so much.
Bye, Mike. Bye, Michael.
Take care.
He's going to figure out where. Oh, he found this button.
So, guys, one, thank you. Dave, thank you for putting me out of a job. I never have to do this again. You can do this from here on out.
You're looking good, Dave.
I want to thank Jesse for picking another weekend. Sunday, it's rainy and cold here, so you did a good job on picking your dates.
It would have been great for a show.
I was really looking forward to this con. Jesse, did you say Champion City was canceled also or not yet?
No, we haven't broached that subject. Hopefully, by the time this wraps up, I think Champion City is going to be the first weekend or the first Sunday in November. So hopefully by then we'll have some a better handle on the corona and better handle on what we can and can't do. But it is still on the books, as well as our shows, our June show in Detroit and our Indianapolis show in August. Those are still on.
Yay! Of course, big huge shout out to Dave who took over the show, and I'm scrambling to just put everybody in. He's like, that first intro to Daryl Banks, I was like, oh, he wants Daryl. Let me get over here. Thanks for the heads up there, buddy.
Hey, no problem. I literally have nothing else to do. There's nowhere to go. I'm bored out of my brain.
You're a natural, David. You're a natural.
God bless you.
So I do want.
And you have big hands.
I do want to put up something about how impressive everybody coming together and doing this is. All right. This is the 4th video to be able to bring together the Gem City Comic Con online show. At this point, the first video that we did yesterday has 2.2 thousand views. The second one has 1,000 views. The one from this morning has 1.5 thousand views. And obviously when we're done, we'll get the amount that we did for this one. So thank you, everybody.
This
14 people watch this.
People can watch this later?
Oh, yes.
No.
So you can watch it on the Gem City. You can watch it over at the Amanda Gilliam Presents Twitch page. Matter of fact, 3 of them.
This is forever, Dave.
On top of that, they're being downloaded right now, and they will be on the Amanda Gilliam Presents podcast on iTunes, the Amanda Gilliam Presents podcast on TalkShoe, and they'll be on the Amanda Gilliam Presents YouTube page. Congratulations, Dave. You're going to be everywhere.
I make poor decisions.
That things was
You remember the conversation we had earlier, Dave? And you laughed. And you laughed.
I make poor life decisions.
Watch it, pause it, and then flattering still frames for our next show.
Hey, Jesse.
Yeah.
How's that for a throwback?
Oh wow, I've got some in my file downstairs. I haven't looked at it forever, but yeah, that's amazing.
I miss Dan. I haven't seen Dan in years.
Yeah, we ought to catch up with Dan.
Dan's on Twitter and Instagram, and he's keeping busy with Garfield and his own little on his own self-published stuff, and he's doing well. But it was always nice seeing Dan every year. Shout out to Dan Davis, everyone.
Shout out to Dan Davis. Can you say hi, Dan Davis? Can you? Sorry, Chihuahua's like, Mommy.
What?
Say hi. That's Dave. He's a weirdo, like your mommy. Yes, he is. And that's Bill. And that's.
See, like the Hydra seal behind me?
Yeah, it does look like Hydra. What?
Thanks, Dave.
That was good. Bill, what's your favorite Gem City memory?
Oh, I think maybe the first year was a time change year, and I went around the first day telling everybody not to be late, and I was an hour and a half late the second day.
Right.
Maybe that one. That was pretty funny.
I like the one where my mom thought.
Exactly. We're all going to jail.
My favorite Gem City.
That was a classic.
My favorite memories was when you would get placed in the atrium or whatever of the college, and the sun at certain points of the day would kind of go through the magnifying ceiling windows, and you would just be cooked for about an hour or two. That was awesome.
You could tell who we liked.
But we gave you all the water you could drink.
Gosh.
What about you, Tom?
Tom's still here.
Tom's still here. What's your favorite Gem City memory, my man?
I just love hitting the back issue bins. I think I got like a ton of like old heavy metal magazines.
Nice.
That was exciting.
We need to get Andy. Is Andy still?
Another great memory.
Andy,
Where did Andy go?
Another great memory from the first year was when Paul Galacy canceled on us.
Right.
And went out of our minds. We thought everybody was going to want their money back, and we were ruined. Jesse couldn't stop pulling his hair. Oh, no.
The dogs are barking now.
They're telling you how much they
That's
love
okay. The first time I was on off camera, because I'm in the dining room and the kitchen's right there, we had a little bit of a grease fire. So I was trying not to panic while I was on before, but I was kind of watching the grease fire out of the corner of my eye. That was fun. But Cheryl did a great job putting the grease fire out quietly.
Nice. Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I found him.
Hey, she found me.
Yay.
Here we are. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right.
We can see him finally, and it's not just hands.
So I have this one question. When do we set up the Dave Aikins Variety Comedy Channel?
Never. Little bit of Dave goes a long way.
Oh, I can make this happen. You have no idea.
I wouldn't. We should make him like the host of when we get back to a physical show. I'm thinking we should do a streaming version of it also, and we could have a camera follow Dave around interviewing all the different people of the show and stuff.
Well, you reminded me. My favorite memory of Gem City was interviewing Howard Chaykin and saying the word antidote instead of anecdote, and the look of disgust on Howard Chaykin's face was just. It was just like he had this look of like, why am I here? Why are you just go? And I carry that shame with me every day since. So remember, kids, anecdote is a fun story. Antidote is bleach you drink.
Right.
See, I vote for moving forward. Amanda doesn't have to do this anymore, and Dave takes over.
Yeah, but then I don't have time to sign the books for the kids.
For the online show, you can sign them later. Ship them out.
Hey, whatever works, I'm here.
It's always the little stuff that happens behind the scenes that's fun, though, Jesse. Like last year when you went to settle up the bill at the hotel,
right?
And the set of sheets came up missing.
That was 2 years ago, but yeah, that was awkward. It's funny how you find out things about some of your guests and stuff, but yeah, that was.
What went missing, Bill?
How do you tell that story politely? I don't know what happened. One of our guests, she gave me the bill. I'm like, "What's this?" And she's like, "Well, some of the sheets turned up missing." And so then the question is, well, did he murder somebody? Did they have too much? I don't know, Mexican food or something.
That was Barry Kitson.
No, it was not Barry.
Barry Kitson.
No, it wasn't. But
it was not Barry. The worst I have on Barry is after the show on Saturday, we do the drink and draw, and then we do another drinking event in the lobby. Barry might have fallen asleep in the lobby.
I mean, that's
but who hasn't? But who hasn't?
Drink and draw and sleep.
Yep.
Sean calls that the bar con. I guess there's lots of bar cons.
Well, Sean would know.
I know. the first time I met him, first time he came to Gem City, him and his friend were sneaking rum into their Coke. Like, oh, okay, so that's how this happens.
My favorite Sean story, we were in Detroit at the bar, and Sean had the backpack full of beer and kept pulling beer out of his backpack.
Sean
Ford was younger than
pulling beer out of his backpack?
Yeah.
Starving artist.
They don't, you know what, and they don't do that anymore. Ever since he like turned 35, they don't do that so much. Didn't stop you though, did it?
That was Motor City. Oh, Sean.
No.
Look, Sean's here. Hi, Sean.
Sean, would you like the link? I could give you the link and I can leave and you can reminisce with these guys.
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Because Dave really doesn't want me here.
How'd you get that? I mean, you're wait, wrong way. This way, this way. I got it there. That's on this side of the screen.
Okay, no.
That's just. Now you're a Muppet. Now on my screen, it's like oh, geez, that's creepy.
Now, man, you got to make it look like he's breaking the third wall. Grab your neck when he reaches up.
Okay,
Dave, hold your hands up. Amanda, grab your neck. Dave, quit it.
Good stuff.
Let that be a lesson to all yous.
It was like Darth Vader. It hurts. All right, Sean, it's coming your way. Give me just one moment. Good Lord. That is a toy that whoever gave that to you needs to be shot.
No, my kid already signed in. He actually signed in during the and actually commented that he's regretting giving it to. Oh wait, here.
Did they seal it?
Yeah. They're gone now. My son, ladies and gentlemen.
Yay! The only normal thing that Dave ever made.
No, there's no proof of that.
All right, I'm going to leave for a few moments, and I'm going to let Sean play with you guys.
Okay.
Hey, can Sean come out and play?
Oh, God, the audio sounds awful again.
What? Hey, not to make it a serious question, but what do you think is going to happen with shows next year? I mean, this year is pretty much is written off. Are we going to be able to get to some shows in the fall? And if we do, what do you think those are going to look like?
We all wear.
I don't know if I'm ever going to feel safe going out in the crowd again for a long time.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest concern right now is for the owners of the shows in dealing with their convention centers. Because I know my buddies at Cincinnati Expo, they're still in contracts for their show, and so the problem is that if a governor of a state says, for whatever reason, says no, you can do this, you just have to figure it out. If you get those crazy people that say, I'm saying you can do it, but I'm saying you have to figure it out. And if a show says, well, we can't figure it out, but the convention center says, we don't care, you're not getting your money back, player pay,
right?
Then those companies are doomed. So that's my biggest concern because Andy and I do shows that we tend to know the owners of the shows. We tend to be friends with them. So we are very concerned about their well-being and the existence of these shows. You got lucky, thank God that the show said that you could, move the date.
Right.
But now we're worried about all these other shows. And so that's the big concern, because if they do say, hey, Dave and Andy, we have to do this show. Can you come? That puts it on us to say, God, we really love you and we hope the best, but it's just not. I don't know if it's worth it for us.
Right. I mean,
right. It's not worth risking your life.
Right. And one of the reasons that Gem City waited so long is because it wanted to see an order from the state that lasted past our date. Because even if they said April 15th, you can go back to work. I don't know about how the rest of you felt, but I don't think that I would have put on Gem City. I don't think that we would have put it on at all, because we're smarter than the average bear. So we would have canceled it. We would have lost it all. But we are lucky that we did get the extension, and we didn't have to. We didn't have to lose our deposit. We didn't have to lose any money. We were able to put that towards next year's show.
Dog. Well, and the biggest problem with a show like Gem City, with Gem City, you run a show where you have a limited number of big name draw guests, and so when you get one of your biggest guest, two guests who say we're not going anywhere in February, they say, or whenever they say we've canceled all our appearances, and rightfully so if they have to travel and they don't want to fly, automatically you're handicapped as a show, just because those people who are your draw. So even if you get me and Andy and Sean and usual suspects, that's a show you could have in your basement or in your garage. So it really kind of puts you,
as we proved today.
for sure. We get Nate. Hey, where's Nate? Get Nate in here, and woo, it's the show. So yeah, it's not an easy. That's why I'm worried about shows like that are coming up, like Cincinnati. Even if
but it's scary too. A lot of the places we go to, a lot of the convention centers, like the Javits Center, are hospitals right now.
And it's funny you mentioned
that's scary.
My mom is friends with the owner of the Suburban in Novi. The guy's mom is friends with him. And the Suburban was up for being a makeshift hospital as well. And the hotel connected was going to be a hotel for doctors and nurses. And, the owner looks at that and says, well, when are people going to want to have a convention in a place that housed sick people and, sadly enough, possibly bodies? So that puts something like Motor City Con, that makes that awkward.
You're bringing me down, man.
Yeah. So Motor City obviously has not said that they're postponing to next year. They've just said postponed. Heroes sadly said we'll see you next year. Andy and I don't do a lot of shows, and when we do, we tend to really like and support the people who own or run them.
That means a lot. I appreciate that.
So we do,
So I think we're going to see a switch to. I was going to say, I think we're going to see a switch to smaller or mid-sized shows. I think a lot of the really big shows, I don't think they're tenable for a couple of years.
Well, that's what we talked about.
I mean, who wants to go to a crowd of 50,000 people?
Yeah, and that's what Andy and I talked about in March. And in March, we said, if you guys ran your show at the end of April, we would be more comfortable doing that than Motor City in the middle of May, just because we know what the body count is. You're looking at 80,000, almost 100,000 people in Novi. That's wonderful, but not.
And they come from all over the world.
And yeah, it's wonderful, but not now. Whereas in theory, a show with 5,000 or 2,000 or 1,000, 10,000, is that what you guys have been doing?
That's what I say.
But even then, stretched over a couple of days, and even a show like Cincinnati for a guest, we can sit behind our booth and feel like we're okay. But the moment that you have to go to a green room or what about when you see people, it's like, no, these shows get to be packed in people.
Yeah.
So.
And the con crud is bad enough.
Tom, are you leaving?
Yeah. I got a
Oh my God.
Tap next.
Good to see you, Tom. We love your art, man. Keep on drawing the great drawings.
Thank you,
Cheers,
Tom.
buddy.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon, man.
Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, but the con crud can run through a convention center, and it's usually just a cold and stuff like that. But if it was something serious, I mean, if one person walked into, Detroit, or somebody that was sick with COVID, and that would run through that whole thing. And in a show like Detroit, where there are a lot of older collectors that come through there,
Sure.
I mean, nobody wants. I would be miserable. I know Billy would too. That to find out that somebody came to your show and died.
Well, It's wild.
That's just that's not who I wanted. What I wanted for the show. That's not how I wanted to be remembered.
Well, and we look at that for any job. With my wife has been out of work, and when they open up, if she gets sick and gets me sick and my son's sick, we're looking at the owner of the business saying, "Are you okay with that?" Some people are going to be like, "It's not my fault," and other people are going to be more empathetic, like you, and say, and actually have that haunt them for the rest of their lives. I got sick at the when I went to Michigan. Andy and I went to Michigan for the Great Lakes show. And I actually, and the funny thing is that my symptoms were exactly what Tom Hanks said when he got the COVID. I had cough, I had nausea, and that lasted. I still have a bit of a cough now.
Right.
Which is, and of course, even that when I got back was at the time was like, dude, 2-day show was not worth this nausea and being sick.
Right.
But now I'm glad because I got to see my parents and I got to see, you guys. That was it. Literally, that ended up being the farewell show, which is bizarre. But I still have a bit of a cough from it, and I'm actually kind of curious if there was some crud going on and what was going on in Michigan, because Michigan is a pretty bad spot for the good old COVID.
Right.
There's another cough for you. You all sick now? Hi, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
I'm attempting to be back. That was awful. You guys, I heard like 2 words come out of Dave's like hour-long speech there.
You mean like the
you didn't hear it because he was reaping praise upon you.
Oh,
so
I tune in and you guys are talking about me drinking.
Well,
what did you think about
what's the song Not Talking About Love? Wow. It's all Van Halen, babe.
There you go, Jesse.
Nice.
There we go.
Oh.
Bill's gonna give us all the corona.
Sean, how you been doing?
What do you think about
I did.
going forward? You go to a lot of shows, Sean. What do you think about like the timeline for Baltimore or the timeline for, I guess Charlotte's off the map now.
Yeah,
but I mean,
Charlotte's done.
Like you do C2E2 next year. How concerned are you about being in that throng of people?
Yeah, if Baltimore and later on stuff happens, I'll be amazed. I don't see that being a smart decision on anybody's part. No way we're gonna have a vaccine by then. I wouldn't feel comfortable being in that type of crowd. I just caught the audio coming back about what Dave was saying about, you're still fighting off something from a con a few months ago. I mean, how many times have we all shown up to a con and you get con crud and you're fighting that off for a couple weeks, and next thing you know, it's time to go right back to another convention, deal with it all over again. And the next time you go in, you're patient zero because you're carrying whatever you got from the last one.
Right.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say the interesting thing about the notion of crowds in modern conventions is that the crowds don't show usually unless the celebrities show. The idea and the celebrities usually now mean current celebrities, which is insane. What current celebrity is going to do a show? Wonder Woman is not going to show up and risk her health. She does not need the money. So these shows that have based themselves around needing hundreds of thousands of people that bring in Spider-Man, not Nicholas Hammond, they're not going to get them. Are they going to get them? How are they going to get them? So are we going to end up, like you said, Jesse, the shows that are okay with 20,000 people maybe can figure a way out. The shows that their business model now needs 100 or more thousand people are, because the people aren't going to go. There won't be the guests. So
I was going to say, to echo what Bill said earlier, I think the smaller shows, even the one-day shows, where there's 200 and 300 people, maybe from a comic book collector, there are a lot less money involved, and that's where I would feel more comfortable, is in a room full of 300 people rather than a convention center of 60,000.
Well, in your monthly shows, those monthly shows have been practicing social distancing for like 60 years. Those little one-day comic shows have been social distancing since they were created. You can be 6 foot away from somebody. You just have to be a little bit more talkative when you say, "I need to be in that box. Can you move?"
I definitely think it's going to change. I think we're going to see it's going to go back to more the way it was in the 80s. I think we're going to see smaller one-day shows. Maybe a couple hundred people in the room. Tables are going to be a lot cheaper. Not as many big names. It'll be local celebrities. It'll be somebody that's from Detroit or from Columbus that shows up to the shows, right? But it's going to be more like that. I think that's going to be the new norm, and it's going to be different because a lot of the vendors that depend on 100,000 people or 50,000 people to sell swords or fudge or something that's not comics. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't see them in a room of comic collectors.
The sad thing is that over the past 5 years, and for artists, a very strange avenue of career has been created, where it's been based solely on traveling the country doing conventions, and no interest in self-publishing or creating any sort of or getting publishing jobs or creating any sort of content other than the prints, which we kind of tend to refer to as the copyright infringement prints. And for a lot of artists that do have content, like Sean, it has become an important part. But for a lot of these guys, it's really become all that they have and all that they do, which is very strange for those of us, I think, who are older or who don't do it, to really kind of put ourselves in that, that kind of career. These guys have kind of taken the fine art fair approach of traveling from city to city to city to city and setting up. And that's the job. So now if that's going away, it's tough. At least you can kind of you can kind of shift stuff, but they're not getting those fans. They're the part of the industry is gotten not fans of their art. It's gotten just passersby who see that they've drawn the character from Doctor Who they like in the 10-foot banner behind them, and honestly, they don't even remember.
Oh.
They just go.
That is when you go to the bigger shows and you get 50,000, 60,000 people through the door. It's people walking the mall. It's the new let's go to the mall on Saturday kind of mentality. Like the people are they pay the admission, they get a Slurpee, they walk around and they do exactly what you said, Dave. It's oh hey look, I want that Doctor Who print and I need that fez and I need that sword. And, oh, yeah, can you draw me a SpongeBob? And, oh, hey, look, they sell comic books here, too. I'll get a comic book. And, heck, we've even seen people do tattoos at shows. I mean, who the heck goes to a comic book show and gets a tattoo? Seriously.
And I don't want
to anywhere but a tattoo shop to get a tattoo.
And I don't want to be, I think...
Well, I agree, Andy. I agree, but at least they're professionals.
I'm not trying to put down artists that have done that as a business model. But I always thought that the problem with that their downfall would be copyright infringement. I never thought that the downfall would be a global pandemic. You know, we always knew that they had a hole in their armor in terms of what could possibly shut them down, but we thought that that would be lawyers and not everybody getting sick.
So
But
the truth is, Disney did this so they didn't have to go that route. Thanks.
it's all Disney's fault. No,
It's the
Disney.
mouse.
Disney is in a world of hurt as well. We were supposed to go visit Disney World in over Christmas, and I have friends. I have a good friend that a Facebook friend that works for them, and you know, who wants to go back to Disney World?
I've never even got to go, and I never got my ticket telling me that we were going, Dave. Why didn't I get my ticket?
Lost in the mail. Mail's not doing so well these days.
Shame on you.
Yeah, it'll show up. Don't worry. I'll send you the tracking. But like Sean's got, you know,
we canceled our trip to Hawaii.
Sean has worked his butt off.
There's no more travel
over the past 20 years to build a fan base and to build his own content. Are you still? How are you are you keeping busy? Are people supporting you?
I can't hear him. Sean, you're still. Hold on, Sean. Unmute your mic. You forgot to unmute your own mic, dude. There you go.
Yeah, I can't hear you guys. The sound is cutting out. It's clipping. Horrible.
That's the problem with basement dwelling.
Let me see if it'll work on here. I'm signing in on my iPad, so you're probably gonna have to
watch this. Boom.
Move to the penthouse.
Boom.
Go away.
Oh, and John, this is Shigo. Fizgig's the Chihuahua. This is Shigo, my 16-year-old dog.
All right, now I can at least hear you guys.
All right.
All right. So, Dave, I caught you. You asked me something, and I kind of made out a little bit of what you were saying about.
Sean, we were saying in lieu of conventions that you've worked really hard over the past 20 years to build a fan base and to develop your own content. How has it been with online fans and online sales in lieu of doing the appearances?
This is going to sound absolutely crazy, but it's been better.
There you go.
Because of building that fan base and continuing to build that fan base, we've done a couple of live sales on Facebook that went over really well. And I spent the last 2 weeks or whatever it's been trying to continue to build that fan base by doing the live stream on Twitch and Facebook and everything else, just to keep interest, keep my name, face, what have you, in front of everybody's eyes. And you know, it's worked out, and we don't have the added expense of paying for a hotel, traveling here, traveling there, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that in that sense, it's been better. You know, will that continue? Who knows? Because everybody's out of work. And you know, I did temporarily have at least one project that kind of got canceled because of everything going on. And then they ended up funding on Kickstarter, and the project picked back up. And another project is on hold because one of the artists working on it has something going on. I don't know what the details of the situation are. So that was very concerning when this whole thing kicked off. So it's just basically been, you know, try a bunch of new avenues to see what will make things work.
Well, on the other side of this, what's going to get you to come back to shows then? I mean, if you said it's better, why go back?
See people, get interaction. I mean, I would, you know, for example, see you guys. You know, we could go hang out and
leave the house.
Pull those beers out of the backpack, because yeah, you guys are all relatively local and you know, one way of looking at it. But you know, all the friends that I have that live in, you know, other states, that slim to nil chance of me actually going and visiting. You know, I get those opportunities to see folks. So you know that.
I have a question.
Yeah, go.
What's it like to have friends? Is it cool? I bet it's cool.
Yeah, sure. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I've only got 2, you know. So you guys can draw straws on who that is.
Is the dog one of them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Except for when I piss him off. But yeah, I mean, I guess to get me to go back to shows, we'd need, vaccine, need some sort of sense of some type of security that we're not going to get coronavirus and or random new something else that gets created that we have to disinfect. I don't know. I don't know what, other than, getting to see friends and, the hope of, there being some potential of bringing in some new fans or seeing fans come back. That's a tough call right now.
I know the answer to this. Gem City Comic Con cough drops, Gem City Comic Con hand sanitizer, Gem City Comic Con face masks. There.
It's branding.
Merchandising will save us all.
Yeah. C2E2 was, filled with people giving away deodorant that they went and bought prior to the con and putting it out on tables. So, you could have everybody handing out disinfecting wipes and cough drops and whatever the heck else is going to fix the virus.
It's all silly. I mean, you could wear masks if you have them, but it's even with shows. Pretty much anything you do, it might help, but the idea of making something foolproof, we would laugh in Cincinnati where the Duke Center would let all the guests and vendors set up on Friday and Thursday with no security check whatsoever. And then when you went back Saturday morning, or you would have to go through a metal detector for the dealers and the guests. And it was just ludicrous. It was like, if you really wanted to get away with something, you had all day Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. It was
the
security checkpoint was laughable. I walked in with a giant pocket knife. It was sitting in plain sight in my bag, and nobody stopped me. Nobody questioned it.
So you're always going to be running on just the hope of people being good people.
The illusion.
Yeah.
So now with people being sick, you're running on the hope that no one is dumb enough to be like, I got a fever, I'm sick, but I really want to go to this convention, and I bought my ticket, so darn it, I'm going.
Yep.
And we all at a show in Columbus, a man who had a flesh-eating disease walked the floor for hours, and I bought his comics. So that tells you how.
I passed on the comics. One of the smartest things I ever did.
Bill Fade.
They turned out okay. They saw.
I loved it because Jesse bought the comics. He brought them over to me. He goes, "Why didn't you buy them?" I said, "Because the guy had a flesh-eating disease, Jesse."
I didn't know.
He took them home. He made Izzy unbag them and board them.
But literally, he came to the show in scrubs. He had left the floor to come to the show. He still had his bracelet on and everything. So the idea
he lifted up his shirt to show me the gauze.
That was an old Buckeye Con, wasn't it?
The wound was packed with gauze. Just like that, Dave. Exactly like that.
Does this look okay to you?
It did the last time I saw it, Dave.
God bless you. Yeah, I don't know, man. The idea of and that's what, like, we're still committed to September in Cincinnati. And that's it for us, for Andy and I. There's nothing else that we've committed to. So, that's going to be a really weird if they don't cancel, that's going to be an odd email with Andrew and Dave and the gang to say, I don't know, man.
Can we just say that you just need to be committed permanently?
To going to the shows or just
Hey,
committed?
Jesse.
You just be committed. We've seen you now today in your gloriousness. We know you need to be committed.
Hey, like I said on Facebook yesterday, my new favorite game that we mentioned that we're playing is Dead, Brain Dead, or Just Fine. You pick one.
You asked me about great moments at Gem City. How about when it was at the Nutter Center and the guy brought the axe as part of his costume and got mad because we wouldn't let him walk around with an axe?
Right. I did make a rule after that there was to be no edges and no sharp edges on any cosplay contest. But yeah.
And I'm not talking a hatchet. I'm talking an axe.
It was a big.
But it's part of my costume.
Dude, the costume's totally stupid without the axe because I'm Axe Man.
God.
Good stuff.
No, I don't
Well,
envy.
this is quite the downer.
Right? So the entire economy is crashing. Comics are nothing. Shows are dying. But hey, at least we're here. I don't envy the decision that Andrew and everybody down there is going to have to make, especially as it gets closer to the show. You know, is the state opening up, and it's still really not going to be safe. I don't envy that situation at all.
Well, and the problem, I mean, if you want to get into the sad conspiracy theories of states opening up, I mean, obviously there are small businesses that could have never closed. Our local Hallmark store, social distance, every single day they're open. You can go into your Hallmark store and buy a card and not worry about dying. But there are a lot of businesses that need to open to bring their employees back super part-time so that they no longer have to pay the employees unemployment. And that's the real crappy side of all of this. Like businesses, there are plenty of businesses that can open up, but there are also some that say, on unemployment, if I bring them back a day a week, I can shirk. They either have to quit or I can, no matter what, I don't have to worry about this unemployment. And that's a sad, a sad side effect of, is just to try to alleviate the states from all the unemployment and then create just bad jobs, which pay less than unemployment.
And if you lose your job, you lose your insurance.
If you had it.
If you had it.
And so yeah, it's
and who needs insurance when it's a pandemic? Nobody.
And it's pointing out
right
businesses. You know, I look at my wife and say, okay, so she's part of a business that pays no health insurance, no sick pay, no leave. All these businesses now, you're back, you're opening up, but what's changed? Nothing. So she still has, so these businesses still have employees that wake up sick and say, but if I don't come in, I don't get paid. And it's tough. How do you, if you don't change that? Anyway, that's a lovely conversation. Probably gonna get me in trouble.
Right.
Good job, Dave. Good job.
You're already on the list. You're on the list now.
You're blacklisted.
But yeah, but that's the way that the country's gone. Is that we've set ourselves up for not being able to deal with this. So yeah, people can't afford to get healthy.
Nope. Yeah, it's sad and it's kind of true. It's not even kind of. It really is true. Someone who's worked in the fast food industry, I don't think everybody realizes that that's the way the fast food industry has always worked. You don't come in, you can lose your job. You've always had sick people working in that fast food industry every single day. And a lot of them, you may think they're following a lot of the social distancing rules. You need to be very careful on this. Trust me. A lot of them are showing you just what you need to see, and they're still running the same way they were during this entire time.
Yeah. So, you talk to people who are still working and, post in the post office and all these places, and they're supposed to have things, procedures in hand, but, it only goes so well and the supplies run out. So in Ohio, it is kind of silly when they say, okay, we're going to see who can open up here starting Monday, who has procedures in place. And you just kind of go, yeah, sure. Good luck.
The one thing
I'm not leaving the house.
No. I'm set up to practice social distancing all the way through November.
Well, it's not really. I mean, it's hard. I can only empathize as somebody who has spent 21 years in his basement with no side effects whatsoever. I can only really empathize, and
we can see it in your complexion.
It's nice and pale.
We can see it with the cute extra mixed with SpongeBob.
I'm fine, man. It's all you guys.
Oh.
Andy's been home working from home for the past 6 weeks, and he's fine.
All good.
He's just waiting till this is over to crack.
No, he's waiting to turn the computer to the wall that has scrawled in it, "All work and no play makes Andy something something."
So Andy,
Yeah.
have you taken the Mustang out?
Oh yeah. Anytime I leave the house.
Since nobody's.
That's my pandemic chariot.
Amen.
I got to make the rumbling noises.
How fast have you been on the highway?
Oh,
How fast have you gone on the highway with it?
Yeah, there's no traffic now, so hey, sky's the limit, right?
There you go.
Question: where do you live that there's no traffic? Because I want to go there because it's nothing but traffic here.
No, the freeway is pretty clear. West Columbus is pretty good.
We haven't ventured outside of Delaware, so I don't know what the rest of the state looks like.
We've heard that Dayton's traffic is still just as bad as it was before all this.
Here in Cincinnati and the outskirt where I live, nothing's really changed. They even still have the call centers open, so there's no company here where I live that's been shut down at all. Yay!
So to summarize,
let's think of a more positive thing. Let's end it with this. We have over 1,000 viewers for every video that we did for this, showing that this is very successful and people still support Jeff City Comic Con.
Hit delete, edit, hit delete on this, Amanda.
And make sure you check out part 4. I'll make sure everybody checks out part 4 so they can see Dave and his glorious SpongeBob hat.
I like it.
Click that stuff out.
I like it.
Oh yes,
That was a statement.
I'm gonna find a way, and that right there, that picture of Dave in that SpongeBob hat will definitely be my Christmas cards this year.
I thought I saw some memes made of that already.
It was. Read your contracts, kids.
Cheddar and sour cream potato chips, naturally and artificially flavored, and they're gluten free. That's all I got.
Did the new Dave Aikins memes beat the Jesse Noble STD memes?
Contractually obligated to.
Oh.
SpongeBob.
But I want to end it on this. Thank you to every creator who came out to make this possible. To Jesse and Bill for putting on a fabulous show every year and us not technically having to miss our 15th year of Gym City Comic Con. To everybody who's been in the chats on both Facebook and Twitch, being there, having fun, meeting new people. I'm watching people go, hey, what's your Facebook account? What's your Twitch account? What's this? Where can I find you? Let's meet up. When this is over, let's do this. And that made this so worth it. It really did. So thank you to everyone. It's amazing what everybody did here this weekend.
It really was. I was amazing.
and thank you, Amanda.
You were, David. You were.
Amanda, thank you for putting this on. I've said it every weekend, every time this mostly happened because Amanda wouldn't shut up about it. So I appreciate you that you were tenacious enough to go behind our back and do this. So thank you.
No problem. You need somebody to not listen to you. I'm your girl.
I've got a whole
all
house
learned a
full of people
valuable
that won't
lesson.
listen to
Never
me. But
listen to Jesse.
Well, if we left it to Jesse, it would have been Jessied. And so, yeah, we can't let Jesse touch it. And Dave,
So, Jesse,
phenomenal.
Thanks, babe.
do you want to shout out to any of the vendors that didn't make it this year?
I don't have the list in front of me. You tell me.
Well, I thought World of Strange, they make great T-shirts. Todd from New Dimension. A lot of the guys are hurting. Why don't you run through the list?
I don't have.
Give them a free plug, Jesse. You've got it in front of you. Say something nice about everybody on that list. They let you keep their money for an entire year.
Right. That is the nicest thing I can say, is that they trust us enough to hold on to their money and trust that we'll put on a show in the fall or in the next spring to make it happen. So I am super appreciative that they were able to, that we only had to give back a little bit of money. We didn't give back much at all. And that was rewarding unto itself, that we don't have to start from scratch next year. So thank you to everybody that did that. I'm not good with, I should have had the map open, or you should have told me to get the map open. So then I could have rattled through them.
You're the list guy. You've got lists of everything.
Well, right, I have them somewhere. I don't have them open
I've seen
right
his
now.
list and how he makes them. They happen a day before the show.
Sean, it's like you know Jesse.
Just a little. You know, I get those last minute texts. Hey, should I put this here?
Right. Did you want a whole table on this year? Did we talk about a half? What are we doing? I wrap this up. I got to make dinner.
What are you making us? What are we having?
Yeah, when are we coming over?
I think we're having mac and cheese.
I had that for lunch.
I have potato chips. So to wrap this up, again, thank you to everybody. Y'all were amazing. If it wasn't for the creators, we wouldn't have been able to pull this off. If it wasn't for Bill always being there and bringing this amazing show, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you, everybody. We are definitely going to be doing more stuff like this for Jeff City Comic Con, and we will be back in 2021 with a bigger, better show. And thank you, everyone.
Woo! Yeah. Hey, hi, guys. Good to see y'all.
It was great.
Thank you.
And remember, practice your social distancing. And even after this, stay at least 6 feet away from Dave Aikins at all time. It's for your best health.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.